Yes, everybody, I believe we are live. We're here on YouTube for the transfer deadline day live, as we normally do. Hopefully today we've got a bit of drama and things happening for the next 90 minutes or so. Obviously, we're going to be keeping a close eye on the Twitter and the social media and the YouTube. I'm sure you guys will be keeping us up to date as well. But alongside me, for the next 90 minutes, plus some special guests and different Wolves fans, we've got Mr. George Russell. George, how you been, man?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Just played an hour of football. I half expecting the centre back to be in, Forbes and Peter Andre to be announced, but nothing, mate. We just saw Forbes on the plane, but that's all really. So, yeah, we couldn't find for that centre back. I don't think it's going to happen, do you?
It's tough now, isn't it? I think they've obviously had communications with a few clubs. Trevor Chalobah would have been the one. I think that we know that they were in for him a little bit earlier on in the window, but it just seemed like his wages were too big. So they've obviously tried to go back in today and try and make something happen. But yeah, he's chosen to stick local to London and go to Palace, which I think realistically it's a better suit for him. I would say Trevor Chalobah. I think
Yeah.
really. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we get someone in the next hour and a half. So yeah, let's just see, and fingers crossed we do get one over the line.
Yeah, big up to everyone in the chat as well, watching on YouTube as always. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, it's great show, and it's only just started. Cheers, Adrian. I appreciate that, mate, as always. And yeah, big up to everyone else in the chat as well. We'll go through, I'll share the screen in a second. We'll go through what's happened so far today. A few people already asking before we started, and just now at Andre, there won't be any issues with that. Trust me, you will not fly a player out over 12 hours to come to Wolverhampton for it to break down. So that should be announced in typical Wolves fashion. It'll probably be at 10:59. But Forbes and Andre definitely coming in. Forbes has already got to Compton in his Stone Island. Love to see it. But yeah, nothing on defenders yet, guys. As of yet, how was football? I didn't score, man. I was in goal. I was actually playing in goal. It wasn't a game to remember. But let's share the screen and we will get see what's going on Talking Walls anyway. If I can find the right window. Talking Walls. There we go. So then we check out the Talking Walls. What's been going on today? Obviously, that's the stream. First one is that Wolves have completed deals. These are predominantly for the youth setups. This was pretty much reported over the last week or so. So the first one, Ethan Sutherland, 18-year-old, joining up with the under-21s, can play as a winger. Hand has recently moved to a fullback, and Seb Lockhead, who's a centre-back, joining from Dundee, who's initially going to be with the under-18s. So I think these deals are always important, but obviously when you're begging for transfers and actual centre-backs, these are a little bit, these deals, Jordan, are a little bit underwhelming, especially on deadline day. But I suppose for the future of the club, these sort of deals have to happen.
Yeah, of course I do. It's you need to get youth players through the door. You need to keep improving that youth system, and you never know. Even if they do or don't play for the first team, you've seen with them. With some of our other youth prospects, get some game time in the under-23s, go out on loan to other clubs, do well, and get a move and make a bit of money that way. So it's just a way of getting it all sorted. Really, I think like you say, don't think you'll see either of them anytime soon in a first team squad. But strange things have happened. If they come here last year, they may even have played against Coventry. To be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll give our thoughts on a few of the little bits as well, guys, that you're asking in the chat. So if you've got any questions, do let us know as well. Is Bentley going to leave? I don't think so. I think out of the goalkeepers now, I think Jose Sarr is probably the most likely to leave, and he may not even be in the squad tomorrow. So I'm sure they're looking at options in Saudi Arabia for him. This is Carlos Forbes arriving at Compton earlier on. Chiquinho set to move out on loan to Mallorca. This is, again, a little bit of a surprise, George. This was linked, I think, yesterday. But now, obviously, with Forbes coming in, Podence set to go out, Chiquinho going out on loan. Are you a fan of this one, or what do you think?
Yeah, no, I am. And I think, people who listen to the pod know my opinion a little bit on Chiquinho in a way of I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's very direct, but I think he's very raw. And, he's not going to get game time here, I think, especially with Carlos Forbes coming in the other way as well. So it's the right thing for him, getting back out on loan. I'd be shocked really if he was to come back from Mallorca and come around the squad as of next year. I think he's got to have a very good loan spell at Mallorca, and I think if he doesn't, I think we'll probably look to shift him in the summer.
Yeah, I think so. Keep his value. But we're going to welcome in Gully as well. Gully, how you keeping, man?
Evening, gents. Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Good, yeah, all good, thank you. Gully, we're just going to go through the news throughout today, and then we'll catch up as well with you and what's been going on. Just catching up with a few questions as well. Armand Loriente is not happening. I think he was pretty much going to be a backup option if Forbes didn't happen, so that one is not happening. No defender news as of yet either, but we'll keep our eye on it. But yeah, Chiquinho is an interesting one. 24. Gully, what's your thoughts on that one? Because obviously you've done the sort of squad analysis going into the season. Chiquinho is very much sort of in and around that squad that you thought maybe could happen, but it's probably more important that he gets game time because with Forbes coming in, he just carries on going down the pecking order, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think you saw against Burnley kind of all the good and the bad with Chiquinho, really. I just don't think he's quite ready to be a Premier League player as it stands. He looked really, really keen to impress every single time he got the ball. He was really direct. But I think a bit of an underrated trait for a winger at that level is trying not to lose the ball. And he seemed to be really rash. Sometimes just the ball will come into him in a promising situation. His first touch would be a bit heavy and things, and other times he'd gather it in quite nicely. So that even just consistency within a game wasn't quite there. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see him having a long-term future at Wolves, but that injury really came at the worst time for him, didn't it? In terms of his Wolves career.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think he had that nice little spell. Was it in the Bruno or was Bruno
Chelsea away?
Chelsea
away was that game where he really stamped his mark a little bit. Then
Tony Roberts was managing that game as well. It wasn't even Bruno Lage, was it?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Tony Roberts took charge. I think Bruno had COVID, didn't he? So Tony Roberts took charge of that game. But yeah, no, you're right. I think really unfortunate with that because he hit a little bit of momentum. Then it's a shame that the end of the season came so soon for him. But George, you've never been that keen on him, have you, Chiquinho? You feel like the Portuguese Jordan Graham?
Yeah, I said earlier, didn't I? He's Jordan Graham with cornrows after Burnley. It's just, I think he's very direct, and I thought Wolves fans had a bit of an overinflated opinion on him after that Chelsea game and a few of his appearances off the bench around that time, just because he was direct and the season was a little bit drab, and he gave us a little bit of excitement in what was a relatively poor finish to a season. I think his end quality's never really been there for me as such. He does like to, I do appreciate he's very direct, tries to get a ball in the box, but like Gully said, he's just a little rash. And I think, well, certainly against Burnley midweek, I think he was trying too hard. And I'm not surprised he's gone out on loan. But like I say, good luck to him at Mallorca. It can only help us if he has if someone buys him off the back of that, good for him. And if he comes back in a bit of a mature player, good for us.
Yeah, let's double check. They're top division as well in Spain. They've had a slow start to the season, 2 draws and a loss in the first 3 games. But if you're playing in the top division in Spain and he does does fairly well, his value is certainly going to be a lot higher than it is sat on our bench anyway, isn't it? And that's the case for a lot of these players. I know it's important for Wolves to have squad depth, but I think that was the reasoning sort of behind Santi Bueno as well at the time. And I highly doubt it now, but if Wolves got a centre back in, the plan was to loan Bueno out. Certainly, I know he's probably good enough to play for us, but it's better getting Bueno out and playing games for a half decent side than just sat on our bench doing nothing. So, there's a reason for these loans, but we'll carry on looking at, there's me checking whether Mallorca are actually in the top division. Fabio Silva as well, out on loan. I know a few people are going to be disappointed that this isn't with an option to buy or an obligation to buy, but ultimately Wolves just had to get him out. Obviously, weren't many takers. And again, similar sort of situation to Chiquinho, get him out, playing football, top division of Spain. If he knocks in a few goals, certainly his value is going to be a lot better in 12 months' time than it is now. Gully, it's not a bad level for Fabio if he can get the game time, but, completely throws out this summer. Are you disappointed there's not an option, or do you think, this is the right decision from Wolves? Try and grab some value back because it's pretty much a rock bottom at the moment, isn't it? It's, not going to get a huge amount for him as it stands.
Yeah, I think it's clear that the club's probably tried to play hardball on a deal with people and kind of intimate that they see some value within him as a player, as an asset. But nobody's really willing to take the plunge and commit to something. So, I mean, he's got to dislodge Ollie McBurney first, hasn't he? Has he made the match against Real Madrid the other night or something?
That's all right, yeah.
So, yeah, look, it's the less he is associated with Wolves, the better at this point. And to be honest, I think we all just could do moving on from this chapter and breaking ties. Like you say, it's a tough deal to do because he hasn't covered himself in glory on his loan spells. And the club clearly are in a bit of a rock and a hard place with him. But we kind of made our own bed with the initial deal, right? So, yeah, we're suffering for it now.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of those, Jordan. I mean, publicly he said he didn't want to be at Wolves as well. So straight away, that makes it a little bit more difficult to Wolves and puts a bit more pressure on him to actually sell him or let him go. I don't know. I was still wanting him wanting it to work for him. And I still think he could have deserved a little bit more of a chance at the start of last season, but he just didn't, he missed some big chances. You can look at Everton, he scored a goal, which was just offside. He missed another good chance, missed a good chance at Brighton. So, and then he sort of let himself down at Sheffield United, albeit, a difficult, an unfortunate decision with a penalty. But I don't know. I still think there's a player there, George, but it's just not in England, and it's definitely not a Wolverhampton Wanderers. Or do you disagree?
I thought there might have been a bit of a play there last season, and then it didn't work out, did it? And then he's gone out on loan to Anderlecht, PSV, Rangers. And you'd like to think he'd go to one of those places and actually, stamp his authority at one of those clubs and, be the man and get maybe 10 goals, in a 6-month loan spell. But for me, it was the Rangers loan deal last season, from January last year, where you're going up to that, you're going to the SPL. You're meant to be a £35 million striker, Portuguese under-21 international. He should have gone up there and scored goals, and he just didn't. For whatever reason, he didn't. And I think his confidence is shot. We're partly to blame for that, I think. And maybe the Raul injury, as we all know, probably didn't help that he got chucked in far too soon and we expected too much too soon. But, the fee's not his problem. But, like Goody said, the chapter's got to end now, really. Even if he goes to Las Palmas and gets 25 goals, I kind of hope he does, right? But it's just not going to happen. I kind of hope it does, so someone will go and buy him and take him off.
Just imagine.
Yeah, I know. It's just not going to happen, is it? But whatever happens, good or bad at Las Palmas, he cannot come back to Wolverhampton.
Yeah. If ever he was gonna have a chance at Wolves, I still think back to the time when Raul got suspended after the Leeds game. He came in and he had a couple of really, really good games. He played Villa, didn't score goals, but led the line brilliantly. And then Large made the decision, despite him having played well, to bring Raul straight back into the team after his suspension, and that must have killed him. Because it's like, well, what chance have you got? Knowingly that that season that Raul came back was poor anyway. Half the player that he'd been prior to the injury. What have you got to do to kind of get a run? And I think that was a bit of a turning point for him as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. A couple of questions we'll jump on before we carry on with the rest of the news as well. What happens to Lamina when Andre comes in? To be honest, there's a world where I think all three of Lamina, João Gomez, and Andre play. I sort of tweeted after after the Burnley game, because it was sort of broken throughout that game, that Wolves could see this as an alternative to signing a centre-back, shoring himself up a little bit more defensively from midfield. I'm sure, Gully, you're going to do a tactical video maybe on it in the next few weeks or so. Because the centre-back market, although Wolves are still looking at it now, no doubt it's probably going to be a loan deal. The centre-back market is very, very difficult to navigate at the moment. A lot of value in it in terms of, the players are quite costly, but how do you think that looks, Gully, from your point of view? Can you see, a Wolves side with all three of those players in there, quite solid defensively with the three in the middle, moving to a 4-3-3? Because Gary sort of mentioned that as well, that he's almost going to have to change shape once the transfer window's done.
Yeah, I think he's obviously got a dilemma there now. I did tweet about this, but it seemed like Andre was probably too good an opportunity to miss in terms of a quality player that was willing to come at a decent price, and B, there is a workaround in terms of solidifying the middle of the pitch. I do find it strange, given the way we've set up in pre-season, that we want to then add another midfielder into the team. and it feels like they're rowing back on a lot of the work they've done, which doesn't sit well with me personally. But if they're going to do it, okay, fine. Early on in the season gives them a chance to embed a slightly new shape. What we will have is arguably probably the hardest midfield in the Premier League to a certain extent. Nobody's going to want to play against that three. Like you just see how that's going to go for teams. But yeah, I think the suggestion is that Andre will sit as the deepest. Lamina, he showed he could play in advanced areas last season. He was playing as a winger at one point in the forward line, when we were really doing some makeshift stuff. He's got a little bit of quality there. João Gomez, I don't really see as being that kind of number 8 midfielder. Whether the coaching staff have a different opinion, and I think they can work with him on that. I shared a clip from the documentary that he did over the summer, and he said himself he doesn't like playing with his back to goal, and receiving the ball higher up the pitch. Yeah. He thinks he struggles with it himself. So you're trying to convince a player against his natural instincts to play higher, and it's a recipe for disaster. But look, we'll have to bow to their greater coaching ability in terms of that one. So we'll see how it goes. But Andre, I'm excited about as an individual player. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it came out of the blue really, George, because, we were linked with him. I think everyone almost saw that as if João Gomez were to go. And I know a lot of people asked me, is he coming in? Are we going to sign him? And I sort of said, obviously, it's a player that Wolves like, but I highly doubt it while João was still at the club. And again, a few people were worrying when this was set to be announced that João Gomez was still going to leave, but it looks like, and it's fairly obvious, they're all going to stay. I was a little bit confused, Joe, because it's not a lot of money as such, but a lot of money in terms of what Wolves made out they had as a budget and spending it on Andre. Do you think it's as a plan for if and when João Gomez goes, or do you think Wolves saw that deal and thought it's too good to let go at this stage of the window?
I think it's the latter, right? I think we all now know, which we've probably all thought anyway, that we were, the PSR rumours were pretty much squashed early on this summer, if not last season, really. And it was more so Foden putting the strain on, or the restraints on us as a club to not, overspend and keep within our means. And I think, they're Foden at heart and at source, they're an investment company, and Andre was a really good investment in terms of, for that sort of money, we're not going to lose money out on him. We're not going to lose, we bought him in for what, 20 plus, was it 22 million euro plus 3 million euro? So they called it about 22 million quid in total with the performance bonuses. Yep. He will go for double that from when, and again, I don't know a lot or confess a lot about him, but, he's a Brazilian international. If he comes here and does a good job, solid job, we're not going to lose money on that. So I think Foden will push the button on anything that's seen as too good a deal to turn down. Going back to sort of how them three complement each other, like I've been a little bit, I think I mentioned it on the pod as well, like I'm not a big fan of what Lamine has been doing in these first two games, like where he seems to be the deeper one of the two and trying to dictate play. I think Lamine is better a bit further forward, getting up and down, getting in people's faces, causing havoc that way. My only concern is that now you have got Andre, you've sort of got to play all three of them, because I don't think you can. Well, Lamine is captain. João Gomez is too good not to play, and you're not going to not play Andre. So, like I say, we are going to tweak the system a little bit. And my only problem with those three playing together is they might be too similar. And that's my only concern. Not that they're all good footballers, but I just don't think there's a lot of difference there, really. And that might become a problem. And again, when you're playing sort of, the bigger teams, they'll be very combative and, they'll do a good job. But it's going to be when you're playing the teams in and around you and the lesser teams, I don't think you can play all three of them together. I'd like to be proven wrong, but I feel like that all three of them can't play together when you're playing an Ipswich or a Southampton at home. All due respect.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it will take a while for Andre to not break in. I think he's certainly good enough to be straight into the 11 if he wants to be, but it's completely up to Gary to how he's going to balance it. Andre obviously won't play tomorrow. I'm not sure. The Newcastle's the next game. I doubt he'll start that game. He's in the Brazil national team squad as well, so he's going to be absolutely knackered if he's going to have to fly back there within the next week or so, and then fly back to Wolverhampton as well. Yeah. But we'll wait and see. But I'm excited about that one. But let's carry on with the rest of what's been going on today. If I add this back onto the screen, Alex Crook of TalkSports reckons Forbes could be the last signing. So it sounds like the centre back guys is not going to be happening. Gully, what do you make of that? Because I posted about this maybe towards the start of the window and said I'm okay with the centre backs that we've got. I honestly think they're okay Premier League centre backs. Certainly, if Wolves want to make the step up to start pushing for Europe and so on, yes, they've got to make the upgrade. But for me, not necessarily Totti and Mosquera as a pairing, but I think the 4 centre backs that we've got are Premier League-ish quality for sure.
Yeah, I think that there's a bit of an overreaction to, especially Totti. I think people are incredibly harsh on the consideration of what his level is. I think it comes down to him being a bit ungainly and a bit cumbersome at times. But I still think as a diligent defender, kind of man to man, does the simple stuff pretty well. He's absolutely a Premier League quality. Whether you can count on him to do 38 games at centre half and push for Europe is a different question altogether. I do think, reading between the lines a little bit, that Dawson's fitness is a bit of an issue because he obviously had surgery back end of last season. He didn't play that much in pre-season, and I know there's an assumption that it's because of his mobility. He's never been that quick anyway, and we want to play a higher line. But the fact he only played an hour against Burnley in the week was strange for me. Centre halves, you expect to start and finish games. That's just what you do, right? So that's and if there is fitness concerns around Craig Dawson, then you would suggest signing someone would have been imperative. But then again, like I say, if they seem to be comfortable with the 4, I still don't understand the stance around Santi Bueno. I think he's looked a really competent player whenever I've seen him. He's probably a little bit found wanting aerially. If he come up against, say, an Ivan Toney or someone, I'd expect him to maybe get dominated in the air. And that Coventry game, I think, set a little bit of alarm bells ringing. Ellis seemed to have the run of him a little bit there. But other than that, I think he looked really solid the other night. And it's the only minutes he's had so far this season. So
I think his passing range is all right as well.
Really good.
Santi Bueno, he's got really decent passing range as well. So I mean, Burnley weren't fantastic, but I thought Dawson and Bueno, did really well there. Neil, how's it going? Over 1,000 of you in the live, which is amazing. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Talking Wolves as well if you haven't already. We'll be doing a roundup probably on Monday of all the signings, speaking to fans from the different clubs where the players are coming in from as well to get a bit more of a lowdown on those. George, you got a couple of fans in there. I don't know who that is, but
take it.
Yeah. Carlos Forbes is set to join. This is him on the plane earlier on. Fabrizio Romano watermarking the picture. You'd love to see it. Trevor Chalobah. This is one, Jordan. I think you mentioned him towards the start at Crystal Palace. Do you think that's one that's got away? Or like I said, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I said I was never overly impressed with him, although I have spoken to a Chelsea friend of mine who said he is a very good player, would have been a good fit at Wolves. But I know in terms of finances, I do wonder. I know in terms of wages, he's on a high whack. I can't imagine that what loan fee Chelsea would have been asking for. What do you think of this one? Obviously, he's based in London as well, so it's a pretty easy move for him, probably.
Yeah, no, I just think, like I said, I think it's just an easier move for him, right? I think it's obviously quite settled in London. From what I saw, someone's I can't remember who it was earlier saying that on Twitter that he seemed to be quite happy and comfortable with his situation. Same as Sterling, like they weren't desperate to leave. They're on good money. Why would you come and play at Wolves when you're getting paid over 100 grand a week? And yeah, why would he do it? And I think Crystal Palace is just an easier move for him than Wolves, to be honest with you. And also, as it stands, they look like they're a team on the up, and we're not so much on the up. So, out of the two, I think you would pick Crystal Palace right now, being a lad from London as well. So, just one of those things, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. Someone mentioned earlier about Armand Loriente. I think that's how you pronounce it. He plays for Sassuolo. Wolves had reportedly made a move for him. There's other reports I think I've seen since that we had a loan bid with an obligation rejected. But like I said, Liam Keane cleared that up as well, saying that we looked at him before the Forbes deal. So I'm sure that was just a backup option as well. A lot of people are overexcited about that. If I'm honest, I've never heard of him in my life. Gully, I don't know if you know of him or...
He seemed to have a spell, I think maybe season before last even, where he went on a bit of a run at Sassuolo. He was on one side. I think they got Domenico Berardi playing on the other flank. And I don't know if it's he maybe got a FIFA card once. People were hyping over that.
I think that's what it is a lot of the time. Everyone's like, "Oh, we should have gone for is it Lacroix that's gone to Palace?" I was like, "Are we sure it's just because it's not fast on FIFA?"
Yeah, but he's quick, and he had a few highlight reels basically where he scored some amazing goals, and a bit of a purple patch led to everyone thinking, "Hey, he's a real deal." But Sassuolo got relegated last year, I think. And he was part of that team, so maybe not.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, this is the man that Wolves are looking to get in. He's there at Compton, so it's just a matter of time. I'm sure Wolves are working on the announcement videos as we speak. There's a few people asking. Finn should be joining us, or at least said he would be. Tom Parker should be on later. I'm hoping that we can get Liam Keane on, a couple of the Fans React lads as well. We'll see what happens. And a couple of people, talking about tomorrow's game, unoriginal channel name, Huang needs to be dropped. Podence might still be knocking about tomorrow. I don't know if he will be because the Saudi window is open for another week or so. So every chance Podence could be in and around the squad tomorrow. I would be intrigued to see if he gets a start. But
haven't they got to name the fully registered list though by 11 or something?
I think
probably tonight.
True. He might still be in it though because if Chiquinho goes, I suppose that'll open it up for Andre. And maybe Boubacar if they leave him out, but no, you might be right. To be fair, Hoops. It looks like centre backs. Nothing. I said earlier on, I was playing football from about 7:30. I was hoping by 8:30 when I finished there would have been some links. There's not even been links, or as it stands, there's not even been any attempts from Wolves. From what we know of. So let's wait and see. So Carlos Forbes set to join Wolves. Jordan, I think this is a really good deal. On loan with an option which will turn into an obligation depending on the number of matches he plays for 13.5 million euros. Not too sure on the loan fee. I'd assume it'll marry up to about 15 million euros in total. For anyone wondering why Wolves have been doing this with quite a few deals, they did it with Strand Larsen as well. It's basically to cover themselves after what happened with Sasha. We signed him, and then after 45 minutes, he was out for 12 months, but after spending like 20 million on him. So they're covering themselves a little bit. But Jordan, I think in terms of value, and this is similar with the Andre deal, about 2 weeks ago, Ajax wanted 25 million euros for Forbes. And now all of a sudden, Wolves have got a deal 10 million euro less. This is the fee that Wolves wanted to be paying, really. So I know it's frustrating when you go to wait right until the deadline to make signings, but I do wonder, I'll ask Liam Keane the same question after, whether it's Fosun have finally got their wallet out or whether Wolves have just been very, very patient and caught these deals at the right time.
I think we've just been frugal, right? We know, closer to a deadline, prices will naturally drop and people will become more and more available depending on how desperate teams are to sell. And, the Brazilian leagues, when we're going back to Andre, it's not blessed with money. You can go there and cherry pick a lot of top players there. So that's probably why we ended up getting him for a lot cheaper. And Carlos Forbes as well. I think, what Ajax were asking for earlier on the window is probably unrealistic for a player that went to Ajax, had 12 months there, hasn't really lit it up at all. Had quite a poor 12 months, really. Right. And, it's one of those things where he was unbelievable at Man City in the under 21s, under 23 scene. He scored a lot of goals, didn't he, before he went to Ajax. And I think West Ham were after him for big money before Ajax got him, if I'm not mistaken, last summer. And I was thinking about this earlier. I think that Carlos Forbes is someone that maybe Gary O'Neill has had his eye on for a long, long time, because no doubt Carlos Forbes would have been playing against Gary O'Neill teams when he was in the Liverpool Youth Academy setup as well, as a manager as well. So he might be someone that he was aware of from that youth football and kept his eye on him for a long time. And you know what? I think these sort of deals, not a lot of risk there. We've got an option. It's not an obligation. He's going to have a point to prove. And you know what? He's had an unhappy 12 months in Holland. So hopefully he comes over here, finds his feet, also homegrown as well, which could help as well. So, I'm excited to see him. And for that sort of money, it's no risk really again.
Yeah, I think the type of player he is as well. Again, Gully, I'm not sure how much you've watched of Forbes, but quite quick, like George said, lit it up for City's 21s. Hasn't had the best of seasons at Ajax, albeit it's his first proper season in men's football. It could turn out to be, a real bargain for Wolves coming the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that we lack a little bit with Neto going is someone to take us 40, 50 yards up the pitch. I know Rodrigo Gomez is pretty quick. Cunha can kind of do it, but that lightning pace is just it's like gold dust really. So if you can find a player who has it, who you think has the potential to impact the league, then make it happen, man. And I think you can play both sides, Connie. It's a bit of a gamble.
Well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, like any deal that comes with a player that hasn't got that much experience. But I think, we've got to shop in this kind of market now. We're not in the business of signing too many ready-made players who are absolutely going to hit the ground running. We'll sign probably one a season, maybe two a season at the most. The rest are going to be, uncut gems who we're gonna have to nurture a little bit. Andre's probably that guy who sounds like he's ready to go. He's gonna settle in quickly and hopefully show his levels. But the rest of them have all got a little bit of bedding in time to properly have an impact.
Yeah, the very last minute to get a centre back. I think he's at Compton as well, to be fair. So I'm sure he's more clued up than most people. But we'll wait and see because the clock is. A lot of people asking about Danso. I'm not too sure why, but he failed a medical at Roma. So looking at the rest of today's news as well, if you want to check our match preview for tomorrow, because we are actually playing a football match tomorrow, feel free to do so. Chiquinho to Mallorca, we've already discussed. We're just waiting. Forgotten player almost in the under 21s. He's joined the National League side fold. Jamaican international, very quick attacker. So we'll wait and see. He was actually training with, I think, Wolves. We're meant to have some sort of affiliation with, and that's obviously not gone through. Has my sound gone bad? Someone said, or you not hear me? Okay,
it's good for us.
Oh yeah.
Oh, strange. Maybe it's you. Sounds like my lead. Can you not hear me now? Am I okay?
No, we can hear you. Yeah, you're fine.
We can hear you,
yeah.
All right, I said, yeah, fixed. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Maybe I just lagged there. Oh, it's back on. There we go. So yeah, that one has gone through. Obviously, Forbes we've discussed. There was Trevor Chalobah. And yeah, Daniel Podence, not really discussed this one as of yet. It looks like he's set to go to Saudi Arabia. George, they've offered him eye-watering numbers. Wolves just waiting on the fee. Daniel Podence said he was happy for Wolves to wait until they had a fee they were happy with because, fair play to him for that because he could have kicked up a fuss with the numbers that they were offering. £5 million seems a little bit on the low side, but he's a player in the last year of his contract. If he's not getting a load of game time, he'll more than likely run his contract out. And Wolves obviously back themselves a little bit with a 35% sell-on fee. What are your thoughts on this move?
It's something that, again, we talked about on the pod a couple of weeks ago about, I think Podence, although he seems happy enough to have been here for now, I think he could have been problematic throughout the season if he wasn't starting football games for us. So for me, yeah, I'm happy he's gone. £5 million is £5 million at the end of the day for someone with 12 months left and a 35% sell-on fee. If they're selling for 10 million, we're getting 3.5 million on top of that. So it's a real big sell-on fee on top of all that. So yeah, I think you've got to be comfortable, got to be happy with it. And yeah, we had to get one out the way to get players in because of the squad registration and the rules around that. So yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, Goody, what do you think? I mean, he had a really good game against Burnley, to be fair. It looked like everything almost went through him, really. So definitely got that, but I just don't know. I mean, Gary O'Neill's obviously said something to, the man on the screen, Gonzalo Guedes, but also Daniel Podence for them to sort of be fairly settled and fairly happy for at least till now without kicking up much of a fuss. What are your thoughts on this potential move?
Yeah, I've always been a bit of a Podence sympathiser. I think I had a look at some of the numbers, and in the worst Wolves teams in terms of productivity, he was pretty much 1 in 2 in terms of goals or assists based on the minutes he played. Sometimes he'd go on a run of games and then he'd be out of the team and things like that. And he always seemed to rub people up the wrong way a little bit. But the fact of the matter was he was always a dangerous player. I think whenever we played, people seemed to get a little bit frustrated about him doing flicks and tricks and stuff, and it just felt a little bit like a bit of an archaic take, is what I'd say, from certain fans who, I don't know, it just, it's a difficult one, but I still think that even in the last year of his contract, for a £5 million fee, I mean, 35% sell-on clause is a bit of a misnomer, because I don't know who's going to come in and pay a significant fee for him for us to actually take a large cut off from Al Shabab. But for a player in the last year of his contract for that much, what's the issue with just keeping him around and running down his contract? I don't really see that much of a problem with it. Obviously, we've decided to replace him now with Borges, but yeah, doesn't really make too much sense to me personally. But we moved on.
We have got a new signing announced. Ola Gunju is signed from Chelsea. This is, to be fair, Fabrizio Romano posted about this one earlier. Again, highly rated youngster, as they all are, has joined, and he'll join the under-18s group. I think he had a scholarship at Chelsea last year, but didn't sign on professional terms. So he's he's joined. That's a decent signing again for Wolves. The under-18s and under-21s signing some good players. No, everyone's moaning about centre backs. We've signed two, one from Scotland, one from Chelsea. Man, happy days.
And we got a French one as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll talk about Moypugh shortly. Actually, to be fair, and we'll look at the start of the transfer windows. It seems like an absolute years ago since we signed the likes of Strand Larsen and so on as well. We saw this one earlier, and I know someone mentioned it. I think Mate Moretto had mentioned it either on Fabrizio's stream or Sky or something. Someone had said earlier. Gonzalo Guedes, Villarreal, looking at him again. I was a little bit frustrated. Is the wrong word. There was a few places that had tweeted about this rumor and basically just said Villarreal are interested in Guedes before the deadline. But if you actually read the article, they know it basically said it wasn't going to happen. It was going to be a very difficult deal to complete. And I think it looked all right against Burnley. Good. Were you there? Were you?
I wasn't at the game. No, I watched it on.
No, but you caught it. Yeah,
Sky,
you saw. Yeah. I think we saw. I mean, maybe I would have seen it a little bit better at the ground. The positive runs, the work rate they did off the ball. You know, I'm not saying let's put him in that number 9 position tomorrow, but certainly not a bad understudy to have for Strand Larsen until January at least, to see where his head's at. Yeah,
I don't know if I see him as a proper centre forward personally. He's certainly not, obviously, like a direct replacement for Larsen if we ever need him to be. But he seems to fit in that position that a few players we've got have, which is obviously Cunha's. I think Hwang playing off a striker would be in that role. Guedes, playing off a big man would be a useful player, because as we saw on Wednesday night, he can finish when he gets the chance. He can make good runs off a play. If someone's occupying defenders for him, the problem you get is if he gets lost between centre halves, he's not got the real channel running and battle to kind of make things for himself at all. And I think he'll get frustrated doing that sort of stuff. But all that being said, Wednesday was probably the best he's played since his debut. He had a pretty good game against Tottenham, I think it was, when he first arrived, and that was all we really saw of him. So look, you can't turn your nose up at a guy who's scored a winning goal in a UEFA Nations League final for Portugal, I think it was.
It was.
So he's obviously a talented player, and we're not necessarily in a position to go around turning our nose up at players like that, especially with our current financial situation. So if Gary's got him on side, more power to him, and hopefully he can make something useful out of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. A few people talk about, I'll big up to Rat for that one, by the way. A few people talking about a couple of options. Joe Gomez from Liverpool. There's a lot of, we haven't been linked with any centre back other than Trevor Chalobah, who's gone to Crystal Palace. Hasn't really been any. A lot of people talking about free transfers and loan deals. The issue is with Wolves at the moment, I think it's going to be very, very difficult to find, there's a few factors. Finding players that want to join, finding players better than what we've got, and then finding players who are going to be within the budget that Wolves have got. To find someone that's all free, is going to cost you a lot of money. Whether it's a free agent, they're going to be asking for a ridiculous amount of money. I know a few people have mentioned, I think, John Matip, Moso as well, and loan deals as well. You're going to pay astronomical wages and high loan fees as well. So that's just something we've got to consider as well. A lot of people bringing up Danso. He failed a medical at Roma. I don't know what's going on there. I'm sure whatever issue Roma picked up on, Wolves will probably pick up on as well. So I really don't know what's going on. Obviously, Gedge was that one there. Andre, we're still waiting for the official announcement. I'm sure we'll probably see. If I had to guess, 10:30 for one and just before 11 for the other one, if I had to guess. But we'll wait and see. Boubacar Traore, it's a shame this one because he was set to join Feyenoord before the deadline. Again, Jordan, I saw him come off on Wednesday, and I thought it was just a precaution because it didn't actually look that bad in the ground. And I know a Dutch journalist had put out that he's going to be out for a few months, which is why the deal broke down. But this is an unfortunate one. Look, I'm not going to say again he was going to have loads and loads of minutes. I think especially with Andre coming in, he would have been down the pecking order or definitely gone out on loan. But this is frustrating because just this development of Boubacar, who we can see is a good footballer, just keeps stunting with all these little injuries that he's picking up.
Yeah, and I think it was a shame, really, because I think he was having a good game as well on Wednesday before the injury. And it's one of those things, really. I still don't really know where he fits it. I think he had to go, or in terms of, I think we're right to let him go, especially getting Andre in as well, because he'd have been fifth choice, wouldn't he? And it's tough, really, because there is a player in there, and I just feel sorry for him, really. He played on Wednesday, picking up an injury like a meniscus. That's going to put him out for at least 6 months, and it's going to set him back, really. And especially if he was going to go to Feyenoord, I think Feyenoord were talking about even trying to buy him, let alone a loan deal. That would have been a good move for him, and we'd have got decent money in for him as well. I think I saw 15 million euro touted, which would have been decent money to come back in, and it almost pays for the Andre deal in itself. So, yeah, look, I feel bad for him. Like I say, I thought he was having a good game on Wednesday, and just wish him the best and a speedy recovery, really.
Yeah, definitely. I've just had another loan deal announced. Chem Campbell has gone to Reading. I did post about this yesterday, and then a load of Reading fans were saying, no, we can't sign anyone. We're waiting for a takeover. So I was maybe I've been misinformed and deleted the tweet, but it's happened. Chem Campbell has gone. Loan signing until January, I believe, to Reading. So he really needs to kick on, I think, this season. Again, I've been a little bit unlucky with injuries and so on, but hopefully Reading, half decent side. I think they're in League One now, aren't they? So hopefully he kicks on this year because just been stuck at that level. So I need to wait and see. I remember Nuno gave him his debut. He was at Villa Park in the Carabao Cup. A lot of links to teams like RB Leipzig and stuff at the time as well. So do you remember that game, actually? Proper random side note, when Flavio Cristobal got a kick towards the end.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in the chat have probably never heard of the bloke. And that was a match, because I remember I was having like messages saying, why have we all signed this guy? Like, he's absolutely awful. And I think it turned out it was like Nuno's godson or something like that.
No
it was like, it was like really.
Yeah.
So I don't know how because he didn't even get a kick for the 21s.
He did come on at Villa Park, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Cristobal. Yeah, he came on. He played. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I remember getting to that game, and then you see the team line up, and you're just like, oh, fuck's sake.
We pulled up at Villa Park. Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. It was just 10 kids and Catrone, weren't it? Or
The thing is,
I know we lost. The performance wasn't awful. I think they held their own fairly well, but it was an awful side.
Was it El Ghazi scored for Villa? It was El Ghazi.
El Mohammadi.
El Mohammadi, that was it. I knew one of them scored. Yeah, I remember one of them.
I think Dion Sanderson played.
Yeah,
he did.
Sanderson looked all right. Neto, a very kind of thin,
very
kind
raw
of
Neto,
he had no like weight on him whatsoever. I'm sure he should have had a penalty or something. But yeah, Catrone looked like a hero in that game, didn't he?
Yeah. No, those are the days. Well, I'm going to say banter era, but we were actually all right back then, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
No, I remember pulling up at Villa Park. I don't know why I got the coach to that game, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" I was like,
"Can we turn this Europa League season then, wouldn't it?"
Yeah, it would have been, because I think I might be wrong. I think
was Europa League season.
The black kit with the diagonal stripes. I think
it's
weird the things you can remember, isn't it? But But yeah, Chem Campbell. People are talking about is the Chiquinho move being confirmed? Because a few people are saying a buy option.
Oh, really?
Let me see. 1 second, folks. Let's see what's. We'll see when we're gassing and talking away, missing all the big points here. Let me have a quick look. What's going on? WWFC. No buy option. Well, so yes, no. Some people are saying 10 million option, which I don't think is an awful amount of money, to be fair. But that's from Chiquinho will join Mallorca, deal including the 10 million euro purchase option. But then a few other people saying no buy option, so I'd assume we'll wait and see what's going on. Yeah, Singwolf. I mean, I'll leave it on the screen just so you can get the bites that you're after, but that is not happening anyway, I'm sure. Right.
Didn't Percy say we were after him this summer?
And that was earlier on in the summer, wasn't it? He said we like him.
Yeah,
Percy else in the league.
I'm sure Percy,
yeah, we did. Yeah, John Percy did.
I know we saw a link, but I thought it was like team talk or something. I thought it was like an awful.
It was Percy, and I couldn't believe it when I was reading it myself. Yeah,
heads would roll. That'd be brilliant just to see the Forest tears. To be fair,
yeah.
So Percy Pig. No, it's quickly again a little bit of a tangent. Quickly moving on to some of the international call-ups as well. So big ones. Matheus Mane, who joined Wolves towards the end of last season, has kicked on really, really well. Can represent a number of teams in Portugal as well, and obviously he's been called up to the England under-18 setup alongside Leo Sahar, who used to play for Wolves. He got signed by Newcastle United a year or so ago.
Good and who centre half there, Dave, as well. Saeed is there.
Oh, flip! Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Oh wow, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, so Saeed as well. Well, the few so Forbes is in the Portugal under-21 setup as well. So Saeed, yeah. Well, there you go. Jack Fletcher, is that one of Darren Fletcher's sons? I know he's got a couple playing for United, isn't he?
He scored on loan and scored a worldie, I think. Yeah,
he scored a worldie against Barnsley, didn't he? It's that Jack Fletcher, I think. Yeah.
This lad here, Bailey De Pepper, I think he plays for Port Vale, because he's playing like for Port Vale first team consistently. And I remember I saw him, he was like 17, 18. I thought, for a kid to be playing like League One, League Two level football, consistency at that age and scoring a couple of goals, I was surprised that a bigger team hadn't come in for him as well. But yeah, big moves for Matheus Mane, who looks an unbelievable player, by the way. And yeah, so there you go. I didn't even notice that, Jordan. And then the Portugal team's out as well. So in the main Portugal setup, you got Jose Sarr, Nelson Semedo for Wolves, including a lot of ex-Wolves players. How many ex-Wolves players have you got? Well, including you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of what is it? 23 have played for
26.
Wolves,
26.
Oh, is it 26 months usually? Right, okay,
should be. But yeah,
incredible. And then the under-21 setup, Fabio Silva is in there. Carlos is in there, although they're calling him Carlos Borges, which is his actual name, and Rodrigo Gomez is in there as well. Some serious baller. I'm sure like a lot of these are over 21 as well, so I think it's when they're the age when they start the tournament, isn't it? But
it's the size. Yeah,
some serious, or Paulo Bernardo, some serious ballers in that squad, to be fair. So yeah. A lot of comments in the chat. What's happening with the Akoni signing? Yeah, that one was pretty much ruled out last week as well. That's not happening. Would you boys have taken a face from Leicester? I saw that he was after a move out, actually, potentially leaving. But again, I don't know.
Not necessarily better than what we've already got, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's the main thing, really. We'll go back to the start of the window, Jordan. I mean, it feels like a lifetime away now, but when Wolves were making those early signings, Pedro Lima, Jorgen Strand Larsen, and Rodrigo Gomez, I thought, here we go, rubbing my hands together, thinking Wolves are being proactive. But I mean, what do you make of those 3 signings? Because we've not really sat down on the podcast really and spoke about them much in detail.
Yeah, well, it was at the start of the summer. A lot of good intention from Foes, and that we were trying to get stuff done before the Euros, make some early moves. And I thought it'd put down a bit of a marker, really, to get Strand Larsen and Rodrigo Gomez with someone else who's highly touted as well, and get them in so early, and Pedro Lima as well. So, yeah, I think Strand Larson looked. I thought he had a decent game at the Emirates. Can't say, I was at a wedding on Sunday in Hamburg. That's why I wasn't on the pod. But so I haven't watched much of the Chelsea highlights back because I just don't want to put myself through that fucking misery. But yeah, no, look, he looks good. He took his goal well. He's a different option to what we've had, right? So he looks good. I think Rodrigo Gomez, again, looked lively, looked very good in pre-season. I think a little bit like when Neto first come to English football, though, I think he's going to need to bulk up a little bit, is my only thing I would say. And that's always difficult to not lose your sharpness and your speed when you do that, but I do think he needs to put a bit of size on. And Pedro Lima, again, pre-season looked great. I thought Wednesday night, for an 18-year-old, he looked really good. He impressed me so much. And, I think he's going to be a top player. It'll be really interesting to see if we blood him in at any point into the Premier League season, into our Premier League games. I mean, unlikely is still what I would say, but, it looks like we've got a massive talent on our hands. So I just hope we manage him well. And I hope we sort of manage expectation well with the fan base as well with him, because, he's going to have to play very well to get it past Semedo. And I'd say Doherty's looked good as well for the first two games. Well, I didn't see a lot of the Chelsea game, but he definitely at Arsenal, he played really well, Doherty. So,
first half of the Chelsea game. First half, definitely in the Chelsea game, Doc was all right, to be fair. His stats showed that as well. I think the plan is, I think Liam Keane might have put it early, yesterday or earlier today, that Semedo, again, I'm surprised there weren't more links away for him, but Wolves want to keep him ideally, but just with the current wage structure and what wages he's on, it makes it difficult. Craig Dawson, who we were talking about earlier, I think the plan is to let him go at the end of the season as well. With Gully Pedro Lima, he made out that he wanted to be part of the 2026 squad for the World Cup for Brazil. That means he'll probably have to break into the team next year. I mean, look good against Burnley, to be honest. I know it's very, very early days, but he looks like a really exciting prospect as well.
No, how comfortable he looked. I mean, even in pre-season, we saw some glimpses, right? The quality he has for delivery into the box from the right-hand side. He already looks a better across the ball than Semedo and Doherty. So, I mean, not saying much because the pair of them, seem to hit the first man at every opportunity they get. It's been a big problem, I think, especially when you consider that the fullbacks offer the width in the team. You need, better quality from those positions because they get into some really good spots. That ball into Guedes was really, really good because it's easy for the keeper to come and claim one of those. And he obviously did it in pre-season for one of Rodrigo Gomez's goals as well. So really, really impressed with him. He was really honest with his work as well. One thing I thought, he'd make a 40-yard run forward and he'd be doing it back even towards the last 10 minutes of the game. And you thought it was proper enthusiasm of a teenager kind of thing. And maybe that'll change eventually, right? But he seems like a good egg. And hopefully he makes a name for himself at Wolves. Have a Wolves player in a World Cup squad in 2026 would be all right.
Fingers crossed. I hope so. He looked bright. I felt that cross was, I mean, the Rodrigo Gomez cross in pre-season was unbelievable. That cross was almost perfect because he was perfectly in between the goalkeeper and defender on Wednesday, and obviously an easy enough finish for Guedes, although he almost sort of fell over the ball, but it was a really nice, it just looked enthusiastic, like you said, like bombing up and down the wing. I think it helps when he's sort of got his afro type hair bouncing up and down as well. But I'm really, really excited about him. One player we've not spoke about, lads, is Sam Johnstone as well. It's a really interesting signing, Jord, because it shows that Jose Sar's future at the club is definitely up in the air, whether he goes whilst the Saudi window is still open or whether, it's been said that they're happy for them to fight for their place. What do you make of this signing? Because obviously Ramsdale was an option. Wolves obviously decided they didn't want to pay the money and the wages for Ramsdale, and we moved for Johnstone. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's slightly underwhelming in a sense of, I've been a big advocate that I feel like we need an improvement on Sar, just from the point of, I think his distribution with his feet, needed improving. And you can quite clearly tell even from last year that, O'Neill wants to have a goalkeeper that can play out with his feet. Sarr can't do that. We knew that, but he's a very good shot stopper. I mean, Chelsea game, he didn't cover himself in glory, nor I don't think for the Arsenal game. I think definitely the first one, potentially the second one in the Arsenal game as well, didn't cover himself in the best of glory either. So look, I think I've spoke to a few people about Sam Johnstone, and he's a very good shot stopper, as well, I get told. But again, he's not the best with the ball at his feet. But I think he might be slightly better than Sarr. The one thing, reading the comments from Hobbs today, which I think was completely fair, was what he was saying was that Sam Johnstone was, or had been, England's number 2 for numerous squads. He tore his bicep. He was keeping Dean Henderson out of the Palace team, who had just signed for big money. He was having a good season until he tore his bicep, and then Henderson came in, and the rest is history. So I think actually for £10 million, is it an upgrade on Sarr? I don't necessarily think it's a massive downgrade. And I think when it comes to money from Sarr for Saudi, we'll probably make money on this. I think we quite easily get 15-20 million from Saudi for Sarr. You get Johnson in for 10. It's not the end of the world, right? I don't think it's that much of a bad deal. However, it'll be interesting as well what they said when it comes to Sarr maybe not traveling with the squad tomorrow. I just think, just ain't going to happen, is it? I think he's going to kick off, and I'm really distracted by the fact that Finn's wearing the same clothes as Dave.
We've got the Chuckle Brothers here. I think we need to swap over.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks bad where everyone thinks
no, you've got to swap bottom right corner
Dave,
the best.
Yeah. I'll go and change. But
no, don't be daft.
Have you seen the
Andre?
Just been a tweet. Yeah, cool.
I mean, Gully's not used to this, but should we show him how it's done before you go and get changed?
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it the celebratory thing?
Yeah. You ready? Yeah. I'm free. I mean, we're going to get demonetized.
But what we're celebrating about?
Andre, he's signed. It's confirmed.
Wait, is it not going to be? Do you not think it's going to be half past? Yeah, but they've done a little teaser. It could be anyone. You haven't seen his face.
Yeah, I mean, in 3 seconds we're going to do it. So you ready? Andre to Walls confirmed. Let's see. Gully's involved. Bring back those.
That's like Ebanks Blake memories. That
Yeah, we're waiting for the official article to drop. Very quickly before it does, Gully, what are your thoughts on Johnstone? I mean, do you think he'll start tomorrow as well? Because he has had a couple of days. He's not a couple of days at Compton, but he's not coming to be number 2, has he?
Nah. It doesn't strike me as that. What I would say, I think going back to the distribution thing, the amount of times I don't actually think Sarr makes too many mistakes playing short, but there's kind of clipped balls into the striker, or most of the time it's Matt Doherty, stick it on his head, right? Sarr misses that pass so often that we can't build attacks, and I don't think they're particularly difficult balls to play. Hopefully Johnson has a little bit more consistency in that regard. I'm not suddenly expecting us to start playing, on the edge of our 6-yard box and consistently, playing around strikers as they're pressing and stuff like that. But those passes, they kill us sometimes. And sometimes you have a centre half steaming in, they win the ball. You remember when Totti headed the ball and suddenly Hwang scored against Brentford. It's that kind of thing that can happen, right? Because you're camped in deep. You have strikers around the penalty area that can pick up on loose balls and stuff. And if you're not competing at least for that ball coming into you, or you're not favourite to win that ball, you put your team under pressure. And hopefully Johnstone is better at that part of the game than Sarr is. I do think Sarr has kept us in games over the last couple of years with some of his shot stopping. But you don't want to have to be in that position, I guess. And maybe he's covering his own arse a little bit at times. So I like the idea of just having someone who doesn't need. I don't like keepers like Pickford who need to be in the action all the time. Pickford, Ramsdale talks about it himself as well. Someone who's a bit calmer, does his work diligently, and probably communicates better with the defence as well. I do wonder whether Sarr is a great communicator to his centre halves at times.
Yeah, he was moaning a little bit. He moaned after the second goal. I think was it Palmer's goal? I thought
he got lobbed. Yeah.
I was like, you went mad at a couple. I don't know if he went mad at Mascara, but definitely went mad at a couple of other players. And I thought, Liam Keane has just said that Chiquinho, it's going to be straight loan. There isn't going to be an option to buy included in that. So I'm sure some people will be satisfied with that. Andre should be pretty much. I think you're going to be right. We predicted 10:30. To be fair, I think that is going to be the case. So we'll wait and see when that's officially announced. Finn, it's good to see you back. I've not seen you in ages.
You too, mate. Sorry about this kit clash. It has just gone 5:30 as well, and there's nothing, but we'll see. Oh, someone said Andre announced.
2 minutes ago. I mean, it's not. He's
there
not
we go. Fine, 5:30.
Is that a new kit or something as well? It's not new kit.
Nah, it's the training top he was wearing, isn't it?
Is
I mean,
it?
let's put it on the screen right now for everyone to see this as well.
Oh, and he's surrounded with. Yeah,
unfortunately, I've got the sound. But that is the training kit, I believe. There you go.
Oh, video getting him.
He looks absolutely knackered, by the way.
Yeah,
I would be as well.
Yeah. Is he the new number 7 as well, mate? Yeah, there you go, number 7. Mate, look at him. He looks goosed, man. He needs a good night.
He has just had like a 13-hour flight to Heathrow and then get a fucking taxi.
Oh, mate, I know, but
but business class, you can lay out.
Mate, he looks cushy in that little business class.
Come on.
He was wearing skinny jeans, though. You've got to talk about that. He's wearing skinny jeans.
You can't fly with jeans.
No.
It's got to be shorts or joggers or something, isn't it? Like tracky bottoms. Got to be one of the two.
Psychopath.
Yeah, that's a bit. I mean, let's quickly refresh the Wolves website. See, yeah, there you go. Andre signed. See if there's any nice little bits and pieces in there. Matt Hobbs' comments and obviously the scout report is out there as well. Let me quickly share the screen again. Feels like a long time in the making. Got the same agent as João Gomes, is the player we talked about when we brought João into the club. We hadn't been in a financial position in other windows to do it when we were interested. This summer I met his agent in Portugal, so I was much interested in him from big clubs that I was gutted that it looked like he was going to play against us in the Premier League. So, yeah, I think like we mentioned earlier, George, with the Forbes deal that we had to wait for the right moment, and that looks like this has happened again. In Brazil, they've reported this quite heavily, that Wolves have sort of timed it absolutely perfectly. But like you said here, it was a crack only 2 days ago. They were probably going to agree at the Premier League club, and he really wanted to come to us. So I think somehow Hobbs has managed to get Jeff and the board, who've been very, very tight-fisted with their money, to chuck the money at Andre. Look, I think it's an exciting sign, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And again, it just goes back to I think we need to get over the rhetoric that Foden haven't got money to spend. I think it's been proven, even from some of the stuff from the ENS Poddy last night, we saw leaks from the Foden have got money, but they're only going to pay for stuff where it's a great investment, where they're not going to lose money. Like I said, Andre's going to come to us. We've got him for a snip, really, in today's market. He will probably, even if he goes on to have an okay season or two with us, we'll get 30-40 million back for him the other way, right? So it's just one of those deals where you have to press the button. It's a good investment. Don't think they'll lose money on it. It's a no-brainer, really. And that's why we've done it. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how him, Lamina and Gomez play in the same midfield. But, sometimes, good footballers, you can't pass the opportunity up. And, I'm just glad he's playing for Wolves.
Jordan's a Foden sympathiser then. You've heard it here first.
I'm absolutely not a Foden. I'm anything but that. But I'm just saying, sometimes blind squirrels catch nuts is all I'm going to say.
No, I think it's interesting because they have obviously, with the sales that we've made, we definitely steered away from that PSR thing. What do you think it is? Because it was said yesterday at the Express and Star Live podcast, they're insulted at the thought of them selling Wolves. I know they've rejected offers for the club, but why do you think it is that they're being so tight with the money? Making a lot of money. Why aren't they spending it back on the team?
I don't know. What are the actual, if that is everything done, what are the figures now, like profit-wise? I don't know whether you guys have covered it already.
Not yet.
No, I don't know what it would actually, could we do a calculation on that? I suppose a few of them are loaned to, they'll go into next year's figures, or they with the Strand Larsen and the Forbes one. But it's got to be, is it near enough balancing out, or what, 10, 20 profit?
I think we're closer to 30 profit, to be honest with you, because we made 90, what was it, 95-ish from Neto and Kilman, and then when you take them out, it's got to be 30. Yeah, it's got to be about 30 million up.
If there's a keeper out the door as well, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's not. We were told, weren't we, it would just be last year, and again, it's gone on into this year. I like a lot of the signings, but it is in that mode of, as you say, they're not a oil. We're not an oil club. We're not whatever. We're an investment. They're an investment company. They've invested in Wolves. So we have been guilty in the past of, the money we forked out on Jimenez and then you didn't sell at the right time and bang, bang, bang. I think we're learning from that. So players like this, you will see go out the door. I think Andre's just getting him in a year early for when we do eventually sell Gomez for a big profit. And if you can keep that Brazilian conveyor belt going, me and you, Dave, as keen football manager players, it's the way to do it, and get the young South Americans in. So, yeah, I don't mind this window. I think if you've got a centre-back in, it's a fantastic window. But on the face of it, your best centre-back's gone. Although that's often an argument, and we had that several times last year. But most people say best centre-back's gone, and you've made a profit. It doesn't look great, but yeah, we'll see. I think centre-back for me, and I'd have been really happy with that there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I highly doubt he's going to be available tomorrow. A few people saying they've already registered him. I think he's got to be registered by 12, and I don't think he would have been in Wolverhampton by then, or it would have been very, very tight if he was in Wolverhampton by 12. So
Ward-Prowse can't play against us tomorrow then as well. That's bonus. Probably whip one in from 50 yards.
I don't know. I wouldn't have minded Ward-Prowse playing, to be honest. Can't run, can he? So, yeah.
Nope.
Again, I've got a really weird. I mean, it's not even that long ago. When we went down to 10 minutes at Mary's, it's obviously a couple of seasons ago, and we were 2-1 up, and they had a free kick right on the edge of the area, and he played it short, and they completely cocked it. I was like, if there was any player in the world that you didn't want 25 yards out, it was James Ward-Prowse, and he played it short, and it was just an absolute disaster for him. I think was that his last game, Nathan Jones. He got the sack after that, didn't he? I think so.
Yeah, Joe Gomez scoring the winner, wasn't it?
Yeah, on his debut as well. That was brilliant. In the chat as well, let's get your ratings. What do you think now? Assuming obviously Forbes is going to sign Andres, and let's get your ratings out of 10. There's over 1,200 people in here, so hit that subscribe button, smash the like button as well. Finny, you back on the podcast Monday or not?
I'll check the diary, but I honestly, mate, I'm a mess at the moment. But I'm pretty sure.
I think you confirmed to me, but I keep losing track.
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, give me 5 minutes before, just remind me. And send me the link, by the way. That's why I'm late, guys. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, I didn't send Finn the link. Some good ratings, 8. We've got some 8s.
I think that's where I'd be.
Got 7. Andre for 7. I think a 7 is fair. I think a 7.5 is fair. I think the score. George, what do you reckon in terms of depth? Do you think we're at a better state in terms of depth now than we were last season? It's a bit different last season because our striker depth was like Fabio and Sasha. Whereas now, I just think we look a little bit more complete in maybe bar left back, but we look a bit more complete in every area.
Yeah, I think you could argue the depth is the best it's ever been since we're in the Premier League. Depth, I'm going not at 1 to 11, but certainly depth. I think, it's really up there now. Like I say, I think we're probably 1 centre back short. And I think if we'd have got a centre back in, that allows then Totti to go and play left back, or potentially go and fill in at left back. Because I'm still not convinced about Aitner in a back 4. Personally, playing left, I think he wants to attack it. He's an unbelievable player, but I don't think he wants to defend that much personally. So yeah.
There you go, George. You got a fan there as well, Alex. Give you an 8 for the column on the 442.
I'll sign your copy for you, Alex. Thanks, mate.
What do you think, Gully, about that? Obviously, you've done videos about the squad as well.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my head around how this because you've got you got to plan for a shape, right? And the whole idea behind my initial video was that we can see how we're setting up. These are the players that we've got aligned to each position who you'd imagine would play in each spot. Throwing Andre into the mix and having the extra midfielder just kind of throws everything out of kilter a little bit. I think and the biggest knock-on effects of it all is that you're going to pull Cunha, I think, wider because you've lost a forward. And Cunha plays, right? Cunha is absolutely indispensable, best player, starts every single game. If O'Neill could have him on the pitch 90 minutes every single week, he would do it. So that leaves you 2 slots. And number 9 is Jürgen van Larsen. I don't think there's anyone that takes his spot as it stands. So you're leaving 1 space really for the likes of Sarabia, Gedge, Rodrigo Gomez, Hwang, and probably Carlos Borges, right, as well. So, and I appreciate the forward areas are where you need that variety and you need the options off the bench to change games if things aren't working, etc. But yeah, it poses a question. And we've talked about obviously players twiddling their thumbs, not necessarily getting the minutes they want, being able there to kick up a bit of a fuss. And I think that's been a problem over the years with Wolves. I know there have been suggestions that someone like Fabio has been a disruptive presence in training and stuff, and it's just not a healthy thing to have around the club, right? So it remains to be seen. And look, if the club put O'Neill in that position and trust him to manage those kind of characters, fine. That's what they're going to do. But yeah, remains to be seen how things go. I'll need to think about it a little bit more.
Finn, it's amazing that we've had players. We mentioned this towards the start of the show. Guedes, Podence coming back. I think if you told any Wolves fan at the start of the summer we'd see Guedes, being our Premier League squad, I think they would have laughed at you. But it's an amazing turnaround, isn't it? Really considering, and it feels like, and I'll include Mascara in this. I know it's an easy cliche to make. They feel like new signings, but certainly one of the big reasons I think Wolves haven't rushed to bring in a Max Kilman replacement is because they obviously rate Mascara a fair bit as well.
Yeah, I always go back to that first pre-season when someone changed his Wikipedia and it was like plays as a professional brick wall for Wolverhampton or whatever, and he was having that great pre-season. And why does it? Just talking about Andre, knackered, by the way, we're all saying, "Oh, Andre looked sleep." Everyone's saying I'm like malnourished in the chat. Do I look that bad? Huh? I feel pretty awake. What was I saying? I'm just looking at all the abuse in the comments. What was I just saying? Oh my god, maybe I'm asleep. What are we talking about? You talking
about new signings? Well,
yes. No, yeah, it is a cliche, but they genuinely do. And Mascara, I think was it Cincinnati, that first loan, and you sort of think, okay, is he ever going to get there? And then when you, oh god, we shouldn't have addressed it. It's getting worse in the comments. And then that Villarreal loan, by all accounts, very, very impressive. I thought, Guedes, they said on the commentary last night that he'd only scored 3 in his loan in Spain. I thought he'd done better than that, but still, I was really, really impressed with him the other night. I know he never looked happy scoring goals in that first season, and then he cracked a smile on the second one yesterday. So I thought, oh, maybe this guy is actually enjoying life for a second, because he just for any minute of Wolves, he never looked like he was enjoying it. And fair play if Gary O'Neill's turn that around, because oh god,
sorry,
yeah. Do I even like as my friends? Do I look malnourished?
Stay with us, you know.
Don't die. Okay. But no, yeah, I'm more than happy to integrate them both in. It did seem like he was a bit of a bad egg, Guedes, didn't it? But if they've concentrated his mind, he's actually happy to be here. I can't see why. Like, when you spent £30 million on him, we were at max going to get like a loan.
Where's Schmeichel thing?
Is the summer? It does as well. I always thought I had brown hair, but the summer months do turn me a little bit strawberry blonde. So malnourished, ginger, dead, brilliant. I'll shut up for a few minutes.
Welcome, Tom Parker. And Tom, long time no speak, man. How you keeping?
Good, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. It reminds me, Finn. You remember we had that deadline day stream where who was he talking about? Was it Bellegarde?
Boubacar Traore.
Oh god, yeah, with
the French guy.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that, Tom? There was a French guy that came on and everyone said he started looking like you. And we were just crying at laughter at this guy and he couldn't understand what was going on.
When was that?
I can't remember.
I held it 2 years
ago. Was it last summer or the summer before? No,
it's
summer
before.
2 years.
2 years.
Oh yeah,
God, do you know what? I might have missed it just because of the time difference. Because it's a little bit shorter during the summer, but it's still about I think it's 8 hours. So
I'll have to find that clip, because basically a lad came on. He came on to explain what Boubacar was like as a player, French, and we also, as people were like, "Oh my god,
we're pissed ourselves, weren't we?"
We're crying, and the guy was like, he thought we were taking the mick out of him. It was horrible.
It was like Ultras.
That must have been horrible for him.
Yeah, it was Ultras account. Yeah,
where did we buy him from? Because it was all the Express and Star was saying, "No, we're not interested." And this Ultras account just kept going at all the Wolves journos, like, You'll have egg on your face, whatever. And then he came on,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he came on to talk, and someone commented like, "Tom Parker come outside with loads of E's on it," or something. And I just drank from a bottle. I spat on it. I felt so.
It was either that, also I begged Tom Parker drops a stinker or something like that.
Fortunately, I don't drop too many, so it's okay. I don't have to see any other pictures. Some of my favorite ones actually were like there was people used to find like videos of like just random guys with glasses dancing on TikTok. They would just post them and be like, "Oh, Tom Parker and Wolves gets a win or anything like that." It was proper funny.
Yeah. What do you think anyway, Tom, about the summer transfer window? Obviously, it seems like an age ago since we signed some of the guys at the start, but then deadline day, what do you think? What sort of rating are you giving it so far?
Well, yeah, exactly that. I mean, the first couple of weeks of the window, we were buzzing. I mean, I thought it was going to be sort of going against the grain in a good way. We signed like 3 or 4 players and get everyone in before pre-season starts, and then it's almost like we forgot what club we are. And then went back to sort of the usual stuff of leaving it till the last like 3 days. Yeah, overall happy, to be honest. Little bit frustrated we didn't get a centre-back, to be honest. I think that might come back and bite us at some point, especially if we get injuries. Because it's one thing last season having the injuries in the forward areas, but if we have a similar issue this season but with defenders and we're having to play, having to dip into the reserves for centre-backs or full-backs, and that's when I get a little bit concerned, especially that we don't have really much of a depth at left-back. I know Totti can play there, but, it's not ideal. So centre-back would have been nice. But honestly, I mean, Andre is an unbelievable signing. I mean, we're talking about, one of the strongest midfielders still left in Brazil. He's been part of a really good Fluminense side for a while. He's been captain. He's played a lot of games. He's won trophies, and he's part of the Brazil first team setup. So for 22 million, I mean that's an absolute steal. To be honest, I'm surprised we've got him for that cheap. Obviously, big clubs are looking at him as well. So yeah, very happy with that. Strand Larsen looks really good. Him and Cunha look good. Who else have we signed? Pedro Lima, plenty of potential. He looks really good. I like the way that he gets forward. I think he'll be good competition for Semedo, and especially next year when he's had a year in England. I think he'll be good. So overall, out of 10, I'm going to give it a 8, I think.
Solid rain. We missed it just, I think we're also getting excited about Andre. Chiquinho's move to Mallorca has been announced. I think, like Liam Keane said, there's no option to buy. So, interesting one. Showed a little bit of what he's about at Burnley on Wednesday, but certainly need to get him those minutes. So, fingers crossed.
Dave, you and Matt did that little venture out to see Fabio Silva in Belgium. Do we fancy a talking Wolves to Mallorca? Possibly.
We can do if you want. If you're paying for the villa, then we'll do it. And then we still need to do
Las Palmas as well.
Yeah, Las Palmas.
Yeah, do a little tour.
We still need to do the talking Wolves can dine with me as well.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Beans on toast, remind me, mate.
I feel like Matt's got a good, strong hand in that one because he's
that's what he's the only one who wants to do.
Yeah, he just wants to win. That's the problem.
Who can blame him?
Yeah, iconic. I'm not sure. I was half expecting maybe 1 or 2 more under 21 loans out. To be fair, obviously we've had Chem Campbell. Luke Kundal was one that a lot of people kept mentioning. He was meant to be going out to Stoke, but nothing has been said yet as of that. I don't know if Boubacar's injuries maybe changed that slightly. I'm gonna have a quick look on the socials to see if anything new has been said. They're pushing for it to go through still, apparently, but yeah, nothing has happened just yet on that one. Gully's fading away, apparently. You still with us, Gully? Just I was going to ask Gully as well. Are we expecting another video soon? Maybe during the international break, will it be? Or
yeah, I'll have a look at it. Not sure what's because like I said, I can't quite get my head around the squad at the moment. So we'll see what the Forest game brings in terms of setup. Obviously, the integration of Johnstone as well might have an impact on things. Yeah, I think there's some interesting stuff yet to come tomorrow, and then we can have a look at what Gary O'Neill wants to change the system to all of a sudden. So yeah, it's an interesting point. I'm still not as high, I think, on the way the transfer window's gone as in terms of individual players. I think I'm really happy with the players that we brought in. It's just the planning around the squad and stuff that's leaving me a little bit confused.
Yeah,
That's fair though, isn't it? That's fair.
Yeah, I mean there is. I mean tomorrow might give us a slightly better idea. But it may be nice to give your thoughts on and preview on things. One thing I've not mentioned as well, I may as well do it whilst Gully's here, and I'm sure Tom, Jordan, Finn, if they were around, would have been involved too. Next Saturday, a week tomorrow, we have got the Wolves Content Creators Cup where we've got 10 teams now. I think there was only 8 last year, but 10 teams.
Year,
yeah. Talking Wolves are in it. We were finalists last year. With an asterisk, I think
10 legitimate teams. Then
last year, we lost out to a team of ex-semi-pros and pros, but obviously this year we've got ourselves, we've got Old Gold Pack, WCRFM, we've got a squad of about 20 by the way for a 7-side tournament. The Wolf Pack, Wolves staff, always Wolves Fan TV, Wolves Fancast, 77 Club, and the Wolves Report. If you can either donate, which all the proceeds are going to the Wolves Foundation, or you can come and watch if you want. It's at Compton, the Wolves training ground. So if you want to check out, obviously, part of the facilities and where some of the players in the academies play, you can do. I think it's about recommended donations, $5 a ticket. And you can just drop a donation there with your $5 and say what tickets it's for. So that's next week. I don't think a kickoff time has officially been announced, but it should be around 11ish next Saturday, I think. So I'm sure we'll be plugging that a little bit more over the next week as
Dazzle
well.
needs to pull his finger out, Dave, to be honest, because my life needs planning weeks in advance.
I know. Well, we've heard unconfirmed rumors that they're training together. So
there's always one team.
They're proper up for it. Finn's
one team.
Oh, Foundation are going to smoke us. We've heard rumors that they've got some decent ballers on their team, but
they got like ex-pros or anything.
I don't know. The Foundation have got a couple of ex-pros part of their ambassadors, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I know maybe Reaper. I'm not saying I don't know if Reaper's any good at football, but
he is apparently. I know someone that went to school with him. They said he didn't he get released by? I swear he played in an academy. No, honestly, because I was surprised.
Yeah, I played against him in a preseason friendly a couple of years ago. I won't talk about the details because he won't like me reminding him of how that game.
Oh, did you? Is he in your back pockets?
We'll leave it at that, though. So if you're listening, then see you next week, mate.
Yeah. Dazzling Dave to run ring. I mean, Dazzle's a baller. Dazzle's got a little bit.
Really?
He's got a little bit. I mean, he scored a header, didn't he? Mate, you know what? He can move the ball about. He scored a header last year, like 7-a-side little goals. Scored a header, going wheeling away in the old cheerer celebration.
Cheer up.
Finn, why can't you? Finn, are you away?
Yeah, I didn't realise. Are you not there, Geordie? Either we got enough players.
I'm golfing in Portugal, unfortunately, and I don't think the media team wouldn't have wanted me back after trying to kill the keeper last year with a penalty.
They'd have wanted me back. I'm missing the final.
That's a fair point. We could have got
Ruddy and Soyuz.
We were tempted. We had a couple of people on for next year. If we do it again, I'll have to find out every ex-Wolves pro that lives within the area and do a quick podcast with them before we start. We've got a couple of people.
It's not a bad show.
You may see some random faces on the channel over the next few days that have never been on the channel before, but we'll just keep it there anyway. But yeah, fingers crossed we can go one step further. If you want to join in, it basically just the link is justgiving.com/page/Content Creators Cup 2024. I'll put it in the chat if anyone wants to, but I'm sure we'll be posting it over the next week or so as well. We were still waiting for Forbes announcement. It's 7 minutes till the deadline till it slams shut. So we'll see who. If there's anything else, but as it stands, I'd assume maybe just Luke Kundal outstanding and Forbes to join, which will probably be between 11 and 11:15 announcement.
I know we're obviously focusing on Wolves, but Wilfried Zaha gone to Leon.
Leon.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an interesting signing. God, I tell you what.
There was a link to us at one point, wasn't there? People.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting one.
I'd take him all day, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's such a weird move for him, though, because he was flirting with, top 6 clubs for, 5 years?
Yeah.
And then to go to Galatasaray was just such a left field move. And the fact that it hasn't worked out, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he was going to absolutely tear that league to pieces, but...
Raheem Sterling's just arrived at Arsenal minutes before the deadline as well.
Wow. Whoa, Arsenal. I've completely missed that. Wait, what?
Yeah, mate. Is Sancho going somewhere as well? So
he's going Chelsea. Yeah, he's going Chelsea. That's another winger. I don't know how they're going to fit all these
Mudryk
guys
is
in.
finished, I think.
Yeah, Mudryk's done now. Yeah,
I think he's done, isn't it?
It's
a shame.
Great model, buying them and selling them for profit.
They spent so much money on Mudryk, man.
Yeah, Hubner's not been loaned out as well. He was on trial in Sweden with Tyler Roberts. Tyler Roberts hasn't joined them. He's joined Fylde in the non-league as well, the National League. I think, did Hubner play for the 21s, I think, a week or so ago? Because the under-21s put out a really good lineup against Arsenal, I think it was. They lost in the end. But they put out a really
Is that
solid...
like the one Semedo played in?
Yeah, Semedo played a good part of that as well. We are waiting for another guest for the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes as well. But we're just waiting on those as well. Any other shouts in the comment section down below? Any players that you would have liked to realistically have seen Wolves sign? Hubner did go out to the Japanese league, but he got recalled. I don't think.
Disappointing low move.
Really. Oh yeah,
really.
Tom, you would have seen a little bit more of him. What did you think?
Yeah, it was disappointing. The issue is that Cerezo are having a really good season this year, and the defense has been pretty settled. And so, coming into that as a young player, it's quite hard. But yeah, disappointing really, because he's a player with a lot of potential. Obviously, he's played internationally for Indonesia. So I thought it was going to be a good signing for Cerezo Osaka, but just didn't quite happen for him in the end, unfortunately. But I think if Wolves were to look at the J League as a potential loan market, I think that would be pretty smart, because they're pretty good at bringing through domestic talent. So there is a sort of a want for young players there, and if they can get young foreign players in there, then yeah, I think that's probably an avenue that Wolves could look at, to be honest. There's a lot of clubs that look at youth. FC Tokyo, honestly, would be one I'd potentially look at, because they're quite good at bringing in youth players. Cerezo, ironically, are usually pretty good. So, disappointing. Hopefully he can get a good loan move again, though, because he's a good player.
There you go. Finn, were you going to add something very quickly before I introduce that?
Another one that's got loads of followers, but it's really irrelevant now. All right, Lee.
Another guest, Mr. Liam Keane for the Extra Star. Liam, how you keeping, man?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you guys doing? Sorry, I was a little bit later than planned.
Nah, don't worry, mate. Don't worry. Busy day for you. It's a shame we obviously haven't got the defender in, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. But Andre Dunn, Forbes soon. Let's talk about the centre-back. That was obviously something that Wolves wanted to press on with. Was there anything close or anything that you heard of today, or was it a bit of a struggle in the end?
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit of a struggle. I mean, there's definitely players they were interested in. Players going elsewhere, players out of the sort of financial reach, and that's sort of been the story of the window, really. And that's the most frustrating thing, really, considering it's, I don't know, how many weeks ago was it now? 6, 7, 8 weeks ago that Max Kilman departed, and to not be able to get them over the line. That's really what sort of Gary was alluding to in the last couple of days, when you look at essentially missing out on targets, having to move on to the next target, missing out on them, move on to the next target, missing out on them for various reasons, financial being one of them, and then having to adapt the way you potentially play going forward, as Gary's hinted at a few times, and then adapt on the targets you want because of how you're playing, and then all of a sudden you're left scrambling around on the last day, really trying to bring someone in. So I think the other business Wolves have done, which a couple of them you just mentioned, have been pretty good, to be honest. But that one they've just potentially, and it's more, in my opinion, more the left back centre back into the left back sort of area. A player that could have done both would have been ideal, where they left themselves the most short. You're 1 or 2 injuries away from a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. What did you think? Were there any names of? I mean, Trevor Chalobah was one that was mentioned today. Was there anyone else that you heard whispers of? Maybe.
Yeah, they definitely like Chalobah. Palace got in there. It was. I don't think financially it was going to be feasible. Obviously, Aguero, we heard about at West Ham, and then it was all the ones they missed earlier in the window. That O'Brien who went to Everton, Dara O'Shea's an obvious one we all know about. So there were sort of a series of them throughout the window, really, that haven't happened for. I imagine more reasons than just financial. There would have been several. Dara O'Shea, for example, I think I've said this publicly elsewhere as well, but Ipswich were giving him ridiculous wages. Something that I wouldn't phrase it as Wolves couldn't compete with, but Wolves wouldn't do, because their sort of wage structure wouldn't be worth upsetting that structure to bring Dara O'Shea in, if that makes sense. And that's where Ipswich sort of, as well as the fee, but that's a big part of where Ipswich sort of trumped Wolves. So yeah, it was a little bit of a frustrating scramble today, as I say. But then they have been able to bring a couple in, so it's not a complete disaster.
No, I think there's been a lot of players in the window where Wolves probably could have signed them if they really wanted to, but there's no point overspending on players for argument's sake, just for the sake of bringing another body in. They want to bring in the right players at the right prices. And I think, we mentioned this earlier with both Andre and Forbes. I think that's what they've done, haven't they? They've almost timed both deals to perfection. I know Ajax wanted 20 to 25 million for Forbes just a couple of weeks ago. Andre, still obviously a decent bit of money, but I think, Fluminense were asking for a little bit more. Is that how you see it, that Wolves have just timed these perfectly, or do you think it's just taken a while for Jeff and Fosun to open the wallet a little bit more?
That's definitely part of the reason. I think the Andre one is a slightly frustrating one because sort of the money's not there, and then all of a sudden the money is there, and then you bring the player in. You know what I mean? And that's where probably the sort of recruitment team will get a little bit frustrated to think, well, we could have had this player, 5 weeks ago, or a transfer window ago, or whatever. He's a player that they've liked for a long time. And even a few weeks ago, the messages were, we like him, but it's just not going to happen in this window. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the money's there, and he can come in. So that's where I suppose some of the confusion comes from for people sort of inside and outside Wolves as well. But then with the Forbes one, I think you make a good point. Yeah, it's funny how some clubs operate and how they wait for certain dominoes to fall, and all of a sudden their valuation of a player changes quite quickly because they also want him out the door. And then you bring a player in, and it's a much different transfer fee than there was currently being quoted or previously being quoted. So yeah, I think Forbes would be, albeit he's still 20, I think it'd be a decent addition. Slightly sad for Chiquinho because I quite like him, but he's very raw. I think he needed that move probably if he goes there and plays well. There is no buy option for Chiquinho as well.
Yeah, it was reported Portugal.
Yeah, it was over in Spain, wasn't it? Yeah, so I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, no, there's nothing there. Would it surprise me if at some point he does move on? Probably not. But he's 24 now. Is it going to happen at Wolves? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But he's quite likable, and he's clearly got talent. He's just a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, definitely. I know a couple of people in the chat worried about the Forbes deal. I know the window is officially closed now, but it can still be announced. I'm sure Wolves have put the sheets in and so on.
Yeah, no, I'm not expecting that to be it's not expecting that to be a problem. It was a very quick one, wasn't it? Flying him over, and he arrived at Compton. What was it? Roughly 9 p.m. something around that time. So yeah. I'm sure it'd be fine.
There was a few people asking as well in terms of Forbes. Obviously, that was very quickly announced after Neto would pretty much gone to Chelsea. But there were other targets. Obviously, Luka Koleosho was one. Was Forbes the number one target? Was Koleosho the number one target? Or was it just Wolves sort of eyeing up different options at that point?
I think a club like Wolves, and the way they do it, which I think is a smart way of doing it, is you have a long list of players for each position. Johnston's a good example because we all know they wanted Ramsdale, but Johnston's been bubbling away for some time. He's been a name that we've all been aware of for a little bit of time, and it's whether Wolves were going to make that goalkeeper jump or not. And obviously, Sarr then becomes a talking point. The stuff with Koleosho was ridiculous, really, because the player clearly was starting to push, and Burnley pushed pretty hard in the other direction, demanding 40 million. So, which is accurate as well. So, they spent about 2.5 million on him 12 months ago. So to demand 40 million for a player who had an injury and played, 15 games in the Premier League last season seems a bit ridiculous. But Forbes is the one they've looked at for a while. Obviously did fairly well at City, albeit an academy level, and then goes and gets a move to a big club in Ajax. So he sort of fits the profile of what they want: young, on the up, hopefully ready to perform. But Andre for me is probably the oven-ready Premier League player. In comparison to Forbes. So I don't think Wolves are in a bad position, really, because they do have a plethora of attacking options, which we couldn't say this time last season.
No, definitely. Again, we said that. I think depth looks a little bit better this time. Obviously, this season rather than last season, definitely. You boys can jump in with some questions in a sec. Someone's just asked, have you sorted your Oasis tickets, Liam? Is that a game for tomorrow morning?
I wasn't on the ballot, unfortunately. I did give it a go.
Have you seen
I'm going to be up bright
and early. The non-ballot odds? 2.3% apparently.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Which didn't fill me.
That's slightly higher than I expected. I thought it'd be just like no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, I think they're expecting 40 odd million people to be going for tickets.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If people are going to get tickets, that's going to be a good gig if they survive the 6 months without falling out.
If I ended up getting tickets, the show I go to would be the one after or the one during where they have a fallout, probably. But
yeah, I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed if they last every gig.
yeah,
Definitely one for the Ticketmaster insurance, isn't it? I think.
Oh God, yeah, definitely.
Liam, Wolves haven't
what's
got
the-
any tickets going out tomorrow. Sorry.
Just one question. Sorry, there's a suggestion that Boubacar Traore was basically on the verge of leaving. How close was that deal, and what sort of deal was it going to be? Do you think?
Yeah, he was going to go on loan. He was
Okay.
going to go on loan, get some minutes, which I think would have been a good move for him, really. So everyone was pretty gutted. We don't know the time frame yet, sort of officially with him with his injury, but it's not going to be particularly good. Well, I don't think we're talking a 7, 8, 9 month ACL necessarily, but we know it's not an ACL, but you know what I mean with that sort of time frame. But it's not going to be a particularly good time frame. So yeah, it's a shame really, because he's another one that I sort of describe these players as almost sort of lovable rogues. The way he plays is so sort of infectious, the way he plays. And he's a bit chaotic and hectic at times, and sometimes there'll be mistakes, but he's quite enjoyable to watch. But it'd be interesting now with signing Andre. I can see a 4-3-3 on Wolves' horizon potentially. I can see certainly a change with Tommy Doyle still being a key part of that, because you see Andre coming in. The suggestions is that Tommy Doyle may not play as much, and I still think it'll be a very key part really of how Wolves play going forward. And perhaps if Boubacar can get back within decent enough time, he's becomes a fifth option for 3 positions if that's how Wolves start to play. And I think he will still have an opportunity then as well, which will be quite important. But if that opportunity wasn't there, as the plan was before the injury, he was going to go out and play. So yeah, it's a shame, really.
I think the other person that is kind of considered is probably Bellegarde, right, as a third central midfielder. Because I know you was talking, Dave, about Kundal maybe moving on or not, and maybe the Traore deal stopping him from moving on. Is there anything on Luke Kundal?
Yeah, we spoke about it a little bit on the podcast last night at Molineux. So obviously Wolves wanted 4 million for him, but there was also a little bit of wiggle room to do sort of a similar deal where it would be 2 million, but with a 50% sell on, which is essentially 4 million in the same sort of different sort of structure. And then they're also looking at loans and different options and just trying to get him a move. Nothing's materialised today. I've been keeping track of it all day, and he's not got anything. No club sort of bitten at what the sort of the offer that Wolves want. However, there is a few other leagues, international leagues, that are going to be open for a few more days, and I think a couple of them are a week or so as well. So I expect him to get a move somewhere. It's just not going to be in the UK now, by the looks of it.
That'd be interesting. Do you think
same for Lembikisa? Same for Lembikisa. For both of them, same situation. It's weird. It's a strange one, Lembikisa. Similar with Kundal, but I'm actually quite a big fan of Lembikisa from what I've seen of him. I think there's a player there. He did okay on his loans, maybe not quite as well as some people hoped, and but the Pedro Lima signing sort of kills his opportunity, really, doesn't it? As that sort of third option coming in.
What's the and I don't know how much you know about this in terms of the registration, Liam. Obviously, is Podence still going to be registered and then obviously let go? So could he be part of the squad tomorrow, or do you think he's completely out of the squad? And same with Boubacar. Do you think he'll still keep his place as a registered?
No, it's a good question. It depends on the severity of Boubacar, because we know that Sasha's not going to be registered, obviously with his injury. So with the severity of it, there's a very good chance that Bouba won't be as well. Because it's just a wasted space, isn't it, if he's not going to be available? The fact that Gary O'Neill spoke publicly about Podence today in the press conference and said that he is, he's going to be leaving, he's got a great opportunity for his family, a very big pay rise, and I don't blame him. I'd be doing the exact same thing. Then it leads me to it's speculation at this stage, but it leads me to believe that he won't be in the squad and he won't be registered, because if that move's coming and Monday is the deadline for Saudi, then that seems like the most realistic scenario. Look, if it all falls through and all of a sudden he's a Wolves player again, he'll be registered. But I think that's unlikely. It's going to be on the move, and probably similar with Sarr. We just need to wait and see how that develops the next couple of days as well. And that's why tomorrow's going to be really interesting. If Sarr's in the matchday squad at all, or if he's not, either way, it tells us a lot really about where he's going to be.
What's your gut feeling? Do you think Johnstone starts tomorrow?
So
too soon.
He probably does. I actually said on our podcast last night, and maybe it's because I had one too many beers. I did suggest that Bentley might start, purely because Johnston's been here a day. He's trained, and that's it. Trained and got on the coach because he's going to be in the squad tomorrow. And then it feels to me like Bentley, albeit he's not been first choice by any means, he has been around the team. He's been there in pre-season. He understands the way Wolves are trying to play, and even if that is a slight change in style, he's still familiar with how Gary Neal wants to operate, and that's what slightly leads me to that. But he is also coming in to be first choice, Johnstone, so I can easily see him starting tomorrow for sure.
It'd be interesting. I think it's no surprise. I think we expected Sarr to go. It's not been much noise around exactly where he's going to go. Obviously, Saudi's the obvious one, but Johnstone, is it around that sort of £7 to £10 million mark? Do you think Wolves are looking for Jose Sarr, similar to sort of what they paid for him?
I think they'll get a little bit less than that. I think it'll be a little bit less. Still waiting to find out the exact fee and which exact club, to be perfectly honest. But we know there's a sort of confidence that Saudi are going to take him at this stage. We've now got to get them over the line. It's interesting the way that Saudi work, because it tends to be lower transfer fees and huge wages, which entices players over there. So I expect it to be a little bit lower than that, to be honest. But it will still be money recouped, and there's question marks over the Johnstone fee. I mean, I think it might be a little bit inflated, but he's still a solid goalkeeper. I think will do well at Wolves, and I think as well this is an important point that Gary Neal talks constantly about the craziness within this Wolves team, and occasionally they make these erratic mistakes and have these crazy moments. And as good a shot stopper as Jose Sarr is, he's got crazy moments in bucket loads. That's a good enough reason as any to make a change there.
Yeah, one player that I've heard it on your podcast, you're probably surprised to see him still here, is Gonzalo Guedes as well. I mean, he played, grabbed 2 goals on Wednesday. Do you think anything was ever close to? I mean, Wolves were probably looking at potential options for him, but obviously Gary's done an unbelievable job to keep him on side, and obviously looking to stay till at least January. Yeah,
for sure. So there was definitely interest in him. It wasn't that there was no clubs that wanted him. It came down to, and it was sort of last night / last couple of days, that the sort of final decision has come in to say, look, he's happy, Wolves are happy, let's sort of give it a go, basically. He came in pretty early, actually, and had a conversation with Gary. It was after the Spain pre-season. Came in, had a conversation with Gary, and basically said, let's give it a go with pre-season, let's see how it goes. And I've first of all got to give massive credit to Gary Neal, because his man management is incredible. I don't know how he manages to do it, because I don't think they're necessarily bad people, Podence and Guedes, but they're certainly fiery characters and sometimes have a little bit of...
Bruno Lage and Lopetegui were both known for maybe not having that man management.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah, certainly. And all of a sudden they feel sort of part of the group and they're reintegrated, and there starts to be a feel-good factor around it. You see a bit of some smiling in training, which, considering the money they're on, should be a given, but it's not sometimes with footballers. And then he goes and performs really well against, actually a couple of the pre-season games, actually, and then against Burnley, gets 2 good goals, and the second one in particular was a fantastic finish. So, I think credit to Gary Neal, first of all, credit to Guedes as well for wanting to sort of give it an opportunity and reintegrate. And also, Wolves' window has sort of pushed them in this direction slightly as well, because they would have wanted to do a winger much earlier in the window, and that would have gave them decisions to make on Podence and Guedes that they could have made a bit earlier than now. So it's partly the window, partly the player and the manager. But I've given Guedes a lot of criticism. I think rightly so, for the way he acted when he was here previously. But if he's willing to give it a go, there's a talented player there, and there's no reason why he doesn't deserve an opportunity to go and do it. I'll be the first person to praise him if he goes and scores a hat-trick tomorrow, and I'll be the first person to criticise him if he goes there and gets sent off. So it's up to him really now to go and perform.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think there's, a very slim chance, because it's not really a market that Wolves tend to deal in, but do you think if worst comes to the worst, Wolves can turn to the free agents, after this window? Because if Sarr goes, Podence goes, there is a couple of spaces, or 1 or 2 spaces for those players if needed.
Yeah, the Diego Costa move was one that was really unusual for Wolves. They wouldn't normally go down that route. Obviously, the Sasha injury was a freak one at the time, and they had to jump. So I don't think it's likely that they'll go in that direction again. I don't think they really need to. And also, you look at the quality of players that would be available. it's probably going to be unlikely. To be honest, I'd have to look at a list of the free agents and see if any of them are worth looking at to give you a proper answer. But I'd be surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are players that wouldn't join Wolves or players that just don't automatically, improve Wolves. I know there were a couple of names being bandied about earlier, but honestly, like I said, I don't think they'd either join Wolves or fit in. Liam, in your opinion, a rating out of 10, considering Forbes has done as well, what would you say this window is? I know it's been a long window, a lot of people frustrated before today, really, but what would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, it's just a tough question. I think depth-wise, Wolves are better off now. There's certainly I wouldn't call it a gaping hole, but there's definitely a gap to fill at left back or that left centre-half position. Or they have to say a versatility player in that position. And you have lost two key players in Kilman and Neto. And I did feel from the beginning that losing Kilman would probably be a bigger loss to Wolves than Neto, which I can understand why people would disagree with that. But I think the way that Wolves play and the players they've been able to bring in, I think that there's evidence to back that up. So for those reasons, I don't think it's quite a disaster. I'd probably go 6.5, maybe somewhere roughly around there. Okay. I think it's decent enough. I could possibly push it to a 7 because I think you've got to remember the early business they did. Getting the number 9 in was really important. Rodrigo Gomez, I think, is a good player once he gets his feet under the table and gets acclimatized really to the Premier League. So yeah, roughly around there. Maybe I'll push it to 7. Let's be optimistic.
Yeah, I think if we win tomorrow, I think everyone will be saying how good a window it is and how much
it's a 10. It's a 10.
Yeah. 100%. Exactly. Liam, I'll let you go before Forbes is announced because I'm sure you'll have to do some bits and pieces on that. But I appreciate you jumping on, mate. And I'm sure you can have a nice rest now the transfer window's done anyway.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm buzzing for it. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Nice one, Liam. Have a good one, mate. Yeah. See you, man. No, big thanks to Liam for jumping on. I appreciate that. Yeah, we just a waiting game. If any of you boys need to jump off to bed, obviously just jump off and let me know. But probably waiting it should be done by 11:30. I can't see Wolves making us wait till midnight for that signing. But
come on,
no, good to have Liam on as well. Obviously lots of people in the chat as well. Talking about, there was a couple of comments and I was laughing. I felt bad. I had to look away from the chat when Liam started talking. It wasn't anything to do with Liam. It was just some of the comments about him. I can't even mention what was said, to be honest. But I had to look away. It was next level laughter about to come. I looked at Finn and he was smiling. I was like, nah,
I must have just been smart. I didn't see it. I'm going to scroll back now. I didn't actually see it.
Oh, mate, it is ages to look, but
must have just looked happy.
Yeah, so Jose, what do you think of Pedro Lima? I mean, he looks exciting so far. Finn, I'm not sure if I asked you your opinion on him or for what you've seen so far. Obviously, had a good time from what we saw of him in America, and he played well on Wednesday as well. I don't know if you caught the game.
Yeah, I've still not actually seen him play in the flesh, but every time, he might not exist, but virtually, yeah, every time I've watched him, he's looked incredible. Which game was it? There was the one game in America. Was it the Palace game? Did he start?
Is it the West Ham one that he got the assist?
Yeah, there was one that was in the middle of the night. No, I swear. Did he? I think he started the Palace game as well because I woke up in the night, put it on, and then I thought in those 10 minutes I was awake, playing really well here. Woke up expecting to see we'd won and we'd lost 3-1. But in my sort of half awake brain, I was really, really impressed in the 10 minutes that I saw of him.
He ran Tariq Mitchell ragged.
That was it, yeah.
First 15 minutes, I think, yeah.
And then I saw Nathan Judah tweeted a similar thing in the morning. I thought, oh God, it wasn't just me dreaming that I'd watched 10 minutes or whatever. But yeah, from what I've seen, I was fully awake for the Burnley game and very impressed again. So yeah, it looks like a great piece of business. I love these South American signings, as we were saying before, the football manager signings. They're just my favourite type of one. And yeah, once you've got a collective, I think it really does help. I like how we've sort of transitioned the Portuguese initially just Portuguese lads. They sort of all bond together. It helps them to settle easier. We sort of then transitioned. Well, the Brazilians speak Portuguese as well. Maybe that'll tie in. And now it seems to be taking over that there's more Brazilians than Portuguese. Although saying that, we've signed 2 Portuguese wingers, have we, just this window? So Portugal hasn't gone quite yet, but I do love this new Brazilian contingent.
Yeah, I think the FM save next year could be exciting, man, because we've got some very good young players.
Yeah. To be fair, even Mepi is a George Mendes client as well, isn't he?
Yeah, we've not really mentioned him at all.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, Bastin, yeah.
Yeah, looks a really tiny player. Good. I'm not going to say you've watched loads of him, but I mean, from the profile and so on, get him in and amongst the first team, maybe some under 21s games, and then next year be 19, coming on to 20, big lad, hopefully physically ready for the Premier League. Dawson goes out, and you welcome him into the frame a little bit more.
Yeah, he's left-sided as well, which I think is obviously part of the plan. But all I've seen is clips on YouTube, right, and they can make Grant Holt look good if you really pay attention. But I think he fits the modern day kind of centre back profile. He had a bad injury last season, which I think stopped him basically starting for Nantes if he'd been fit. Because I know he has made his debut for them, but you don't get many bad French centre halves, do you? So that's a fair.
Stephen Moycolo, maybe, no?
Was he French? I feel like he
might have represented a different country too.
Yeah.
Ronald
Zubar, actually.
Manson was English.
Just to
oh my god,
he's from like the Seychelles or something like that.
He was French. Yeah, he was French. Moycolo, yeah, French.
To make us all feel very old as well, I was doing my bit of research on him. Born 2006.
What? Oh my god!
Honestly,
that makes me feel old, and I'm not even old. Jesus, 2006.
I know.
He never saw the Zidane headbutt, then, did he?
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, some of the students that I teach, some of them, I mean, they're like 6 or 7, so they were born in like 2018. And I'm like, oh my god,
that's mental.
Blows my mind.
I missed the start of Nuno's Wolves one.
I know.
That's weird to think, actually. That's quite weird.
I tell you what. There's a lot of Phil Foden fans here. One of my kids has got him as his desktop background on his little Chromebook.
How random.
Yeah, I had one of them say his favourite player was Jordan Henderson. Which I just thought was really funny. Some little kid in the Japanese countryside.
Wolves fans there. Japanese Wolves fans there.
Well, there's quite a few of the sort of the older, like sort of year 6 age kids that they a lot of them know Wolves because they follow the Premier League. So
it's a market we've not quite tapped into though, is it? Yeah, it's
it's untapped. Yeah, I don't know if Bib would be. I don't know. He probably would be. He's his personality. They love a personality. Japan.
We need Bib back. By the way, a lot of people asking about Bib. I have tried to get him on videos, but he's just very unresponsive. Is the right word I should use. So unfortunately, hasn't been on. Quickly going back to Moycolo, in his career, he only played 67 league games.
Mad.
Wow, that's not a lot.
He came to us quite highly rated, didn't he? But yeah, he played 2 games at Chelsea and retired in 2014.
We got him from. Didn't we get him from Hull after they got
He like a season in the Premier League with them, and then signed for us and disappeared off the face of the earth.
He's only 37, which is mad as well. So
maybe he had you remember Jeremy Allen had like an epiphany and became like a born again Christian.
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
I actually thought he was okay. I mean, it was a bit of a boring season for us, but it was just exciting to have. So I remember at Wolves, it was we were defending a corner, and he had the ball, booted it 50 yards up the pitch, and just ran after it and got the ball. Jeremy Allen, because that's all. He was like, it was a budget Adama, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Pace. He had nothing else, nothing technically whatsoever. But Jeremy Halamlan, throwback. We're still waiting for this confirmation, by the way. There's some shouts, 1952. I mean, fair play. At that age,
you're all
working
little
on
chickens.
Saw the glory days, though. Saw the glory days.
Yeah.
Towards 1955, to be fair. So.
I don't know how I've got away with that one, George, to be fair.
Shaven and all, clean shaven and all. Still getting.
I know, yeah.
I'm joking. That's not even here. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So just what you mentioned earlier, Gully. Sorry, just to go back to about the Japanese market. Yeah, I completely agree. We haven't really gone there at all, which I think is interesting because some of the young players that come through are pretty good. Yeah. It does take some adaptation period, I've noticed, for Japanese players, but some of them adapt really well. I mean, you're talking Matoma had a season or 2 in Belgium. That usually is the pathway. You know, they either sign for a Premier League club and then get loaned out to like Belgium or a country like that and then play, or they just sign straight for a team in Belgium. I mean, the one that I wanted Wolves to get was Kuryu Matsuki, who signed for Southampton, but he's the captain of FC Tokyo, only 20. And he's probably the one I would have gone for, but yeah, he's gone to Southampton.
They've got two now, haven't they? Sugawara as well. The right.
Sugawara. Yeah, good player. I did a tweet that accidentally got picked up by Japanese news outlets last year because I tweeted that Wolves, if Wolves don't get João Gomez, I think they should have a look at him. And the problem is that should doesn't translate very well to Japanese. It sort of translates as this should be happening, as in it will happen soon. So a lot of Japanese accounts picked up on it, and it got like over 500,000 impressions or something like that. And a lot of people thought that he was signing for
Parker
Wolves,
dropping fake news.
That's a really dangerous word to not. So in Japan, if you said like we should go on a date, or that is that forceful?
Not necessarily. It would depend what. It would depend what context you use it in.
Right. Okay. Just in case ever
it's
nip over to Japan.
It's usually if you're asking someone to do something, it's usually like the shall we, which in that case is a slightly different like conjugation. But yeah,
noted.
Yeah, but no, this unfortunately Twitter's translation, built-in translation, is not very good. So yeah, I was a little bit stressed out about that.
Well, I had that I think it was when we signed Lima. There was an English subscriber of Talking Wolves who works in Brazil, and he said, "I know some Brazilian fans that can help you with that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, Sam." And I put that emoji, like okay, and he goes, "Sound, I saw it. Whatever you do, don't send that to the Brazilian guy." I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "In Brazil, that means a completely different thing to okay. It basically means you're a hole." So I was like, "Okay, I won't say. I won't
oh God, it's stressful doing that.
Yeah, I was very quick again. A complete tangent. Ada Richard 1956. I had a teacher with that exact name. So if you were a teacher, I know you interact with the channel a lot.
That is from St. Peters.
Yeah,
I remember Mr. Richards. Yeah,
Mr. Richards, man. I mean, I'd be worried if it's him because he's a big fan of the channel, and I've had run-ins with him on Twitter. That would be fun. No, Forbes deal is not off, guys. We're just waiting for confirmation. Mate, Fraser must be a Spears guy too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's all happening. Tom Rouse.
Oh my God, get the band back together.
Gee, wow. I was sat a few rows behind Tom at the Chelsea game. I'm assuming that's his season ticket.
Rouse, are you at the tournament next week? I reckon he's playing for 77 club again. It's got to be.
Yeah, I was just going to mention this. What Tony Walsh has put in the chat. Like Blues have spent £15 million with 5
I was just about to say
that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's a £20 million deal in League One.
Yeah. Haven't they signed a few Japanese players as well?
They signed one from Celtic early, didn't they?
Yeah, they signed one.
Did City ever get the Celtic Japanese striker?
No.
They didn't do it. Now they're looking at them, weren't they?
There you go, Tom. Whatever that means, mate. Let me get Google Translate out, Trevor. 1 sec.
Oh gosh, I'm not sure what.
I reckon it says hi, Tom.
Shisenda means.
That's hi.
It just says. It just says. Hello, I am something, but I'm not exactly sure what that is.
Yeah, Rouse used to be the last. I mean, Rouse was a bit. This is a bit of a tangent. Rouse was big on the old Wolves YouTube back in the day. He was dazzling day before Dazzle was Dazzle. But I remember I used to be really close to Rouse. Speak to him every day. I didn't speak to him for like 2 years, and he's like married and got 3 kids or something now. Like it's just mad. So
I remember watching the podcast when you used to sit around a table
around his house
with a bowl of biscuits.
God. Oh mate, iconic. Those are the Talking Wolves days. They were.
Yeah.
Did you ever come to Rouse's house? Maybe.
For the podcast.
Yeah.
What was the little thing? Was it biscuits or?
Yeah, biscuits.
It was biscuits because I remember you used to do a little chat before the football talk about what biscuits you had.
Yeah, people kept taking the mix, saying Matt had eaten all the biscuits and stuff. So,
let's take that bowl away. Don't leave any low hanging fruit.
Big shout again, big subscriber to the channel, Moldy. It's a fair question, George. Would you have accepted the Marseille offer for Hwang now? In hindsight,
yes.
25 million.
Yeah. I'm not getting into his first touch again, but yes, 25 million.
Mate, 25 million is a great. 25 million is a great deal. That's a when there was the rumor of that being submitted, I was like, I tell you what, I do like him. He's a great finisher, but 25 mil for someone who drifts in and out of games. I mean,
he doesn't fit their transfer strategy because he's not committed any heinous crimes either.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
That we know,
maybe
we're aware of,
We're aware of.
Jordan,
maybe he's actually North Korean.
Did Mr. Richards confirm? He's just said he's going to sleep, but I don't know if he confirmed if he's the St. Peter's Mr. Richards. That's all I need to know. He comes up on my Twitter all the time. I was like, is this Mr. Richards? I don't know. What happened to the Eastern European centre-back? Who was that?
Who's that? Eastern European?
Is it Ahmed Hodzic? Is that
Ahmed
Hodzic.
Oh, yeah. There was no truth in that one. There was no truth in that one. Trevor? Oh, that hi, Tom, you're looking fresh. That means in Japanese, obviously.
Thank you. Oh, right. Fresh. Wow.
What does this mean? He's speaking in riddles.
I
don't know what it says. What? Ak. What's it? I don't know what's going on here. The chat's just
right, there's a whole separate conversation going on, I think.
Yeah.
Surely half.
Right. Yeah.
Get the beers out on deadline.
So I just want to mention January as well. I mean, it's so early to say. You would hope that there's some sort of funds left for January because Wolves have spent a lot of money. But Goody, we've left ourselves sort of short the last few Januaries. Whenever Wolves are in a half decent position under Bruno Lage, we saw it. Obviously, not so much. Well, with Lopetegui, they had to spend the money. Do you think there'll be much moving in January? I mean, it's so early to say, though, isn't it? But is there a clear area that you think Wolves might have to be forced into reinvesting in January?
It's unless there are any injuries at all, we're in a dire position. I don't really see us doing anything unless, like, you find a particular player who might be, like Andre. It's an opportunity not to be missed to bring him in. Maybe there's something that happens in January in that sense. The question mark is if Semedo doesn't sign a new deal, do we end up trying to sell him in that window or something like that?
Yeah.
Have to bring in right, but I don't know. I think Sarabi is running out of his contract as well. I think.
Yeah, Dawson as well. So it could be.
Yeah, so there's a couple of players that might want to supplement the squad with if you try and actually make some finance out of those players.
It gets to January, foreign clubs can approach them then as well. So,
obviously,
why not get the fees for them? But I mean, it'd be interesting. Obviously, I think, like we said earlier, Nelson's made a big part of one of Gary O'Neill's favourite players, and it's just that wage demands. But if you want a certain wage, just because the manager likes you, you ain't going to take 20, 30 grand.
Is he starting tomorrow, Dave?
I would say so for me.
I hope so. I hope so.
What do you boys think?
Doc's
been all right.
Doc's been solid.
Yeah. He has been, but we can't. Yeah, I gave him a lot of praise after his Arsenal performance, but come on, you can't not start Semedo over Doherty.
Any extra pace at the back is useful.
We need it massively.
Doc left back, Semedo right back. Drop 8 Nori.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did it away from home. I genuinely
after that performance, well.
Yeah.
It's unusual because I've never seen Nori get ripped apart like that by a winger. I know it's a different system, but defensively, I always think he's been quite underrated. Like, he's so good defensively, especially one-on-one. But he just got absolutely torn. I've never seen him that out of position. It must have been instructions because he was coming inside. He was coming in field so often. If you look at like the goals, he was constantly almost in like a kind of DM position. He kept coming inside, and that just left like Totti alone with like two Cole, Palmer, and Madueke to try and deal with.
The problem he seemed to have was whenever Madueke got the ball against him, he seemed to be in the penalty area straight away. Sometimes you expect the winger to be out on the touchline, and because we're obviously narrower because we're playing in a 4, the winger seems to have that extra bit of space and can attack. And once you got him into the box, you can't touch him right, and you seem to struggle with him shifting his feet and stuff. But I do agree with you. We've seen him pocket Salah, right? We've seen him go 1-to-1 against some really good wingers and come out on top. So it's not like he can't do it. And I disagree with that whole idea that he can't play as a fullback. It's just little nuances and stuff.
Yeah. I think once. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, for me, it's not the fact he can't, because, like I say, we've seen him do it. It's not that he can't. I just feel like he feels like he needs to be involved in the game more. If you know, I think he had that.
I think O'Neill wants him
playing further up pitch.
Yeah, O'Neill. You saw what he did last season when he moved him up the pitch. God. playing as a right winger
So
at
good.
times. That game against Fulham that we won with like nobody.
It was the best. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable. I think O'Neill wants him to be. Yeah, he wants him to have that responsibility. So maybe he's just overloaded him with information to the point where he didn't really know where he needed to be against Chelsea. But hopefully they've nailed that there.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, do you put him further forward as a winger? But then if you do, we haven't really got much depth at left back. So we've sort of shot ourselves in the foot with that, I think, a little bit, letting Hugo Bueno leave. Because I think Hugo Bueno and Aït-Nouri, if you put Aït-Nouri left wing and Hugo Bueno left back, that's a decent left-hand side. But I think pace-wise, our defence is looking really good this season, I have to say. One of the issues I had with Nuno's team was mobility. Yeah. And we've sort of done a complete 180 where now our team is, I mean, if you go back to front, like you've got so many players that can carry the ball in that team. You've got Aït-Nouri, Semedo, Mosquera. Once he gets his confidence, I think he'll be pretty good on the ball. You've got Lemina and Gomez that can do that in midfield. You've got Cunha. You've got Rodrigo Gomez. Even Larson was coming in deep against Chelsea. His technical ability is really decent and he links up play well. So I'm really happy with how the team looks in terms of, if we're going to be a counter-attacking team, I think we've got a really decent group of players for that. But yeah, I think the depth at centre-back is a bit of a concern. Do you think we'll miss Podence at all, by the way? This is a question to you guys. Do you think we'll miss Podence? Because in that 10 against Burnley, he looks really good. Like I was really surprised. I mean, it's easy to say when all the flicks come off, but
I said Burnley as well, isn't it? I think
I'd probably rather got rid of Sarabia and kept Podence for that same sort of role. But I've always liked him. But if he is, it does seem like he's a changed man. But whether a couple of losses and that same sort of personality comes out, I don't know. But as a player, I really like him. I'd have wanted to keep him around.
Definitely. Just quickly, James Fielden, subscribers watching from Colombia. So big up everyone else in the chat as well. Let us know where you're listening or watching from as well. Adrian Richards still completely ignored the question, so I don't know how to say that to be completely.
The mystery will never be solved.
You're a politician, not a teacher. Can I just completely change it? We were talking about Blues before. They've just announced Stansfield. It's saying it could rise to, it's guaranteed 15 mil. They're saying now, some of the journalists.
God.
But they've just put out an announcement video, and it's Tom Wagner's their equivalent of Jeff Shee, isn't he? I think.
Yeah.
It's the face of it, yeah.
What? Get it up on screen, Dave. I don't know. We don't get copyrighted by Blues, do we? He's made it all about him. It's like a message from Tom Wagner, and he's done imagine Jeff Shee, like, if we sign someone, him doing a little chat like,
let me remove this, and then let me get the sound on as well in a second.
And then I think
it would have been
give up with
a good end to the summer if Jeff Shee announced the Andre signing.
Yeah.
Like, look, McMahon, money kind of.
I just can't picture this the other way around. Go down. It's like a message from.
This one.
Before it was announced. And then that one. Like, come on, don't make it.
Hey guys, it's back with the soccer.
The thing is, though, you remember just as we were getting relegated, him at St Andrews, like, this is our house.
I do.
It's great to be back in Birmingham. I'm super excited to head to St Andrews at Knighthead Park tomorrow to see all the great improvements that have been undertaken over the summer, and most importantly, to hang for you for what will hopefully be a great match. As you know, we worked really hard this transfer window to improve the squad and deliver a product to you that you'll all enjoy. And we got nearly everything we wanted. Some of the goals we set were very aspirational, and some proved to be just a bit of a stretch too far. But in any event, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for the season. Keep right on, and we'll see you tomorrow.
My name is... Imagine Jeff do that with the centre back now. Nearly got the centre back.
Jeff Shee there with many.
They've got. I wish he was more like
Mario Hermoso tomorrow. Bosh.
I wish he was more open to stuff like that, because that would be so funny.
Yeah, he's a meme though, Jeff. Like, with some of the stuff when he was actually used to make himself public, he was just a meme. So, and he just completely say the wrong thing. So that guy just reminds me of Bob Bradley, anyway.
Yeah.
Brad Bobley. What was that?
He was the manager of Swansea, was it? In England?
Swansea, it was Swansea, and the US national team, I think.
Brad Bobley was soccer M, wasn't it?
Megnuts.
As an American, we don't claim him. That's brilliant. We're still awaiting. It's still on, the Forbes deal. It's still on. I mean, every sort of 15 minutes that comes past, like half past, quarter to. I mean,
they've paid more for him. They've paid
I'm going to
more
go
for
to bed in a minute.
him. They paid more for him than we paid for
Neves.
Rodrigo Gomez. Yeah, Neves. Oh my god, Jesus.
Are any of you going tomorrow? Are any of you got? Well, not I'm up early necessarily, but are any of you going?
Nah. Tom's
Oh,
flying over from Japan.
Bit too far for me, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, bit too far for me. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a 20-hour journey. So I think
Yeah,
pushing it a
fair.
little bit.
Yeah,
I just don't have any positive memories from Forest, but I'm going. But
we're unbeaten in 6 at Forest, you know.
Are we?
Well, the cup game
the
was
league.
lost, wasn't it? Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's draw, but
Maybe it's a bit of a.
I think I've been 3 times. We've won. No. Yeah, 3 times. Lost in the cup. Won their tour. No, 4 times. Won in the cup. 4-0. Yeah, I was at that one. Lost in the cup.
I was
and
at
then
the Jota one, the 2-0.
Jota, and then the year before as well, we beat him.
Yeah,
I think that was under Paul Lambert, maybe, or just before that. Yeah.
Yeah, the last few have been horrible, and there's been some form of Gibbs White drama every time. It's not really looking forward to it.
Gaming, you're getting a timeout, son, because it's just your banner's dead.
Yeah, Forbes deal off. Just keep seeing it in the chat. Give over.
Singles was Singles the one that kept making up the chance before. Hole again by Tommy Kidd. Lamina, pass it on. Listen to my guy gone. No, it just doesn't work. I thought here's to you. Remember, here's to you, Kevin McDonald. Obviously, here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Here's to you, Jorgen Strand Larsen. Was that pushing it a bit? Works for the Sylvana Eubanks Blake chant as well, to be fair, Strand Larsen.
Do you reckon we could fit 8 Nori in on Don't Look Back in Anger? Or Don't Look Back 8 Nori? Something like that.
I don't know if it works for me, that one.
I spent the whole coach journey back from Arsenal trying to come up with a Mosquera chant that included like the 2 events that he got involved in. I just couldn't come up with anything. I saw someone did a what's the chant? Like what's it?
That's Amore.
Yeah, that's the one. That's Amore. Someone had done a good Mosquera one to that. That involves
him putting his finger up your arse or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Is that what you're
that was
to
good, but there's got to be something there.
This subscriber made this light for me. I have asked him since if he would do like make loads that we could give to people, but he doesn't make them anymore, unfortunately. He has given me a new one, like a Talking Walls one, but I prefer this one if I'm honest.
I reckon you could do the Carl Henry one to Mosquera, because Mosquera, whoa, and then you come up with something
it's
to do
from
with
Colombia.
Oh
no! I mean, he could, but he's just completely inappropriate.
Well, the Milias lyrics would probably work quite appropriately as well.
Colombia, it could do.
It's quite hard to come up with them actually without it. Like if you just write it down, unless it's like an absolute stormer, it's quite hard to come up with.
And
we make it sound not cringy.
Even like the Cunha chant would fit way better with Lamina. Like the Tequila one would fit way better with Lamina. But just some catch fire, don't they? And then once the
it still sounds stupid every time I hear it.
That one.
Don't work.
That's actually quite a good
one. I do miss going to the games, to be honest. That's been the toughest part about being here.
It's gradually declining, mate. It's really not. There's not that much of a.
That's a good question from Menacing Skull as well. Are there any academy players you'd like to see break into the first team during the season Premier Cup? The 21s and the 18 setups are getting younger and younger, so I think there is that sort of bigger divide. Obviously, the likes of Kundal looks like he's going to stay around unless, like Liam said, he goes out on loan, probably abroad. I don't know if you've seen of any. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else in the 21s that can make.
No one springs to mind in terms of real quality that you expect to become a first team player. You know, we had even like we go back to like someone like Conor Ronan always caught the eye. You know, I don't think we got anybody like that coming through as it stands, or you just don't expect them to be. I mean, we're a championship club then, weren't we? So maybe it's a better chance. But
like I think Mane.
Mateus Mane,
we mentioned him right at the start of the show. He's still very, very young. Okadua as well. Obviously, you know, put in that conversation. I was upset he didn't. I know it would have been a bit of a gimmick almost, but I was upset that he didn't get any minutes last year because if he played last year, he would have been the youngest ever Wolves player. I think that would have been
that would have been
such
cool.
a crap season. It would have been nice, you know, a nice thing. Danny Angel as well, not a bad shot. I still think he's I still think he's very raw. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be at the moment.
Great
But certainly got the
footballer, isn't he?
potential to be a good player. Yeah, he's a good
Mm.
footballer, to be fair.
I hope Nathan Fraser has a good season out on loan. Again, Belgium, pretty good league.
Strange loan, though, that isn't it? Second division of Belgium.
Yeah.
Oh, was it second division?
Yeah.
Second division, yeah.
I don't think because apparently he's spending the summer with Shrewsbury, wasn't he, training? And I just don't think he's that good.
I saw people saying maybe championship loans and stuff like that. I just think that's probably a stretch too far.
Well, he's played 2 games so far, apparently, and he hasn't scored. But those might be off the bench. So,
yeah. Fletcher Holman. Again in and around the under-21 setup. I think it'll be him and Danny Angel really competing for the striker spot in the 21s. It's 1:45. Still no official announcement from the Wolves, which is a shame. But it's gone. If any of you boys need to shoot, by the way, feel free. I think I'll stick till midnight and hope that we see.
I can stick till midnight. It's 1:45 here.
You look like you're gonna fall asleep, Finn.
Now they might be right. To be fair, that thing needs to be a 4-person, doesn't it? So if you 4 are staying on,
I'm gonna hit the sack, boys. So
boys, thank you very much. Don't
leave good to speak to you guys.
Yeah, Willie, I'm sure we'll see content from you again soon. Finn, hopefully we'll see you on Monday on the pod.
Lovely stuff. Yes, right. I will get that mascara chant going tomorrow and see
which one? Just on my car or the other one?
Get it in the lab.
Get it sorted, son.
Right, lots of love, everybody. Thanks again.
See you, mate. See you later. Bye. Right, we're into the last. We'll stream it till midnight, guys. I'm certainly hoping that the Forbes deal is done by then. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around. There's just over 700 of you left in the chat, which is amazing.
That's very good.
Like I said before, if anyone wants to check out, if I share the screen again, check out the Wolves Content Creators Cup, which is happening a week tomorrow, next Saturday. Where alongside us, lots of other fan channels as well. We're at Compton at the training ground. If you want to check out some of the facilities there, and you can come and watch, donate a $5 per ticket. You can come and watch some of the Wolves lads in this tournament. But then there were 3. A big thanks to everyone that stuck around for most of the stream. Obviously, Liam Keane for jumping on as well. There's the Jeff drove it to Blythe in a Lamborghini chant work. Spain.
Ooh.
Jeff drove to.
Does it have to be 1 syllable?
Nah, well, I don't know. Well, used to be one. Jeff Shee drove. There was a Leo Bonatini one, wasn't there? When he played in, was he in Saudi Arabia before?
Yeah.
I can't quite remember.
It was.
I went to quite a few games that season, but I can't remember.
Went to Saudi. I can't remember. Yeah. What's your favourite Wolves podcast other than yourself? To be fair, I don't consume that much Wolves. I mean, be interested to see what the guys in the chat say. I don't consume that much Wolves content outside of this, mainly because I'm just looking at stuff all the time. I listen to the Expression Star one every now and then, to be fair.
That's good. But
other than that, I very rarely have chance to catch anything else, to be completely honest. But be intrigued what everyone else is saying. All right, we just got a smile. Oh, we've got a tweet from Wolves, but I think that's for Andre. Still the same tweet.
Might be,
Forbes deal's still on.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I wish the home kit was the gold shorts and gold top.
I think it is, but
is it?
I think
is it this season?
Yeah. Oh, it's just a picture of them. And the third, a lot of people asking about the third kit. It is due out hopefully in the next week or so. Should be should be like a purple color anyway. I appreciate that, Singles. Thank you. Sky Saves Forbes is done. Yeah, it's done. I think it's just awaiting the announcement now.
Yeah, I reckon they might. I reckon they might put it out a little bit past 12.
Yeah, I do as well.
I'm 12. Yeah, I'm still at 12.
It's going to be those awkward 10 past 12 tweets.
Yeah, Podence hasn't actually gone yet. It's pretty much done. He's going to Al Shabab in Saudi Arabia, but Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be a purple colour. I think it's just going to be the wolf head as well. No hexagon.
Oof.
Leon Chiwomi, no, he's not out
Nice.
on loan. He's not got out on loan.
Definitely
Chirewa
purple.
has. Chirewa went to Derby.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's a good loan for him actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I was on a Derby podcast. I said, you know what? For League One, I think he's going to be a really good level. And he's like, oh, it's a good job we're in the Championship now. I was like, yeah,
Oh,
cheers, guys.
no, that's a stinker.
Yeah,
That is
I
a
know.
stinker.
There you go. Adam Woodson. Jordan, are you a Stourbridge bloke? I'm doing a Wollaston run in a week or so. What's your favourite pub? I'm a Bavham's chap.
So, yeah, not originally, but I do live in and around the Old Winford Stourbridge area now. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm pretty sure it's when I'm in Portugal playing golf. But yeah, Bavham's is good, obviously. It's quite hard, really. I do quite like Bird in Hand. 7 Stars is always good as well. In and around me, so there you go. That'd be my 2 choices. But yeah, Wollaston is good for a good pub run as well.
There you go. Is Podence permanent? It will be when it's officially announced. Yet it will be a permanent deal.
I'm excited to see Forbes. I haven't seen much of him. I saw bits of him when he was at the City Academy because he was doing bits, but I haven't seen him much at Ajax, to be honest. But
I don't shut my blinds. It's downstairs as well, so I don't think they've ever shut them. I don't even know if they're shut, to be honest. I don't shut blinds yet. You know, a lot of people do. I just never shut these blinds. So.
Or even if you go to bed in your bedroom, would you not shut your curtains to a blind?
No.
I'm pretty much the complete opposite. I'm pretty much the complete opposite.
Why? It's dark, and then when I wake up, it's light.
No, shut them. You never know who's looking, dear. You've got to shut them.
Exactly.
Upstairs, I'm lay down below the window.
Listen,
mate, I ain't got nothing to hide from my neighbours anyway.
I keep mine closed the majority of the time, but that's because I'm usually out most of the day, unless it's really sunny. Or like a really nice day, I open them. But we've had a typhoon for the past week, so it's just been blinds closed whole week.
No, it just bring me. You know, if you wake up in the morning though, Dave. Like again, I'm not asking if you sleep naked or not, but you can't just get up, can you? That'd be my fear, just a cheeky bollock to a neighbour. You know,
mate, I walked in there earlier and I looked out. I was upstairs, man. I ain't got enough to hide. If they want to see it, mate. Mr. Richards be lurking, mate. Respect Adrian, mate.
Yeah.
Respect Adrian.
That's some accusation to me.
Yeah, respect Adrian, mate.
Respect. He's gone from being called a drunk to being a peeping Tom. Just for
I'm on my phone, mate. By the way, I haven't got my old the old fella out midstream. I mean, that's very weird as well.
I'm moving back soon, don't we? I think I've got one more year left here, and then I'll be back in the UK to that comment. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Back to sunny Wolverhampton.
Move back to Wolver. Yeah. There you go.
Sunny Wolverhampton.
Does 8 Norris still have a 50% sell on? Did we buy that? It's a 50% sell on, but it's like I think it's capped at like 10 million. I think it's
oh right.
Yeah, I think it's capped at 10 million. So it's either 10
million. We said about that before, right? That it's to a certain level. It's like maxes out at something, or we can 50%
of what we pay. Yeah. So
right.
Well, it's not. So say I would say we sold it for like 50 million or whatever. They're not. It's not going to be 25 million back to Angers.
How much could we get for him realistically? Let's say if he has another good season,
8 Nori of Chelsea, or the 8 Nori that we know can play.
Yeah, I think that might be what's putting. I think maybe top 6 teams will look at that performance maybe and have reservations, but he's so balanced.
That was a good podcast moment as well.
Yeah. Although we do have the Brentford is Gash one as well, which is
that's got to be up there, isn't it? We had some good ones, Jordan. And Matt a couple of years ago as well. He had some good shouts on there.
some of those fan camp edits.
Man. He's still into it.
I was going to say we've not had one for a while, but I don't know if I want to encourage him to do more. To be honest with you, so I used to be on the back on him.
What's the Gibbs? Apparently, we're not getting one for the England call up. Apparently, there's not a bonus.
We should have added that in. That was a set in stone.
That was a given, I think. Really,
that's a given. Yeah, he was always going to get called up at some point.
Bastian might be in the squad tomorrow. He may be. But yeah, I'm not too sure as of yet. I don't think there'll be. You got 2 backup centre backs already, so I highly doubt he would be, to be honest.
He might travel, but he won't be in the squad, will he? I wouldn't have thought.
No.
He won't. He'd only need 3 centre halves on the bench.
There's an interesting clause that we put in there. Was it? I don't know if it's just rumours, but there was we put a clause that there's a percentage if we qualify for Europe.
For Moypew.
Yeah.
There is add-ons. Yeah.
Very ambitious.
Yeah. That pick is iconic as well, Carl. That is the OG pick as well. But I had a few edits. People make me look even smaller than what I look as well. So,
to be fair, I'm probably about that height in real life.
Yeah.
The edited version is probably quite accurate to mine. So,
well, whenever I stand by Finn, bear in mind Finn's probably like
It's got 6'7", hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
oh, mate, 100%. I'm 5'6", so yeah.
Oh my god, really?
That edit is going to be. You don't even need an edit for that one.
FPL, I'm going Haaland. It's a safe bit.
I'm playing around with I've been playing around with the wild card like for the last 2 days, and I've not hit the button yet. I keep looking at it and I just go, yeah, no. I was planning on an early wild card, but I fucked it. I feel like I fucked it after 2 weeks. I just want to delete the whole thing.
That's why for anyone concerned.
I give up after 2 weeks because I get a stinking week, and I'm like, well, I can't catch up with everyone else now. So,
Lee Crumpleton talks broke down Reese. Big fan of George Russell as well. Big Reese, Lee Crumpleton, and back in the day when we were on away days, we used to talk to random people and say, "What do you think of Lee Crumpleton? Maybe join him also." Like, he's a really good player actually. He's like part of the MK Don setup. He's quite good, and just make up random names. Like, I'll take him. Yeah, it's like. Is that
like the Tottenham video of the Emity Cabinet or something?
Yeah. I look like Bill Alan Partridge. Aha! There you go, mate. I mean, I am 5'10". I don't know what the joke is, to be honest. Yeah, I am. So there you go.
It's on camera. People are
Bastin
it's on camera.
Me Pu. I would have said Moypew, but I'm not French.
I still haven't quite read his name.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with 4 minutes, I'm hoping 4 minutes left of the stream. I'm hoping that we see the announcement of Carlos Forbes. We're hoping it's going to be very, very soon. I was meant to do a train station pickup in the last hour, and I haven't been messaged, so we can continue. We can carry on. Forbes at 12:07. Is that what you think? Yeah. Any predictions on the?
It's going to be an awkward time. I guarantee it.
They'll get it scheduled surely. It's actually pronounced from me to you, like the chuckle. Yeah, very good, very good. How many goals does Jurgen Strand-Larsen score this season? I'm gonna go with 11.
Yeah, we go with 12. 12.
Yeah, I was thinking 12 as well. I reckon.
Is that what Cunha got last year? 12.
Yeah,
I think 12 is not a bad number, really.
12 is a great number. First season in the Prem, yeah, absolutely. 12 is a really good return.
Yeah, a few shots, 8, 9. Oh, bear in mind, he's got 1 goal already. You know,
we create a lot of chances.
We do.
Goal contributions will be a bit more because he got a few decent final balls in as well.
Yeah. Could have had an assist if it wasn't for the offside against Chelsea as well. So,
exactly.
And he got a few in pre-season as well. So, yeah.
Who starts next to Jason tomorrow? I think it'll still be Totti, to be honest. But I wouldn't mind Santi being there.
I'd like Dawson, to be honest.
I think Dawson as well. I think that's the reason why Dawson come off on 60 minutes
against Chris Wood as well. It's not like
it's a big physical game. I'd just stick Dawson on him and then just let Mosquera sweep up behind him. To be honest,
I honestly think that's the pair to go for, Mosquera, Dawson, because I mean Mosquera is still a young guy. I think you need an experienced Premier League experienced centre back. I mean that's what the rumours that Wolves have been looking for. So, we've got one there. He's a good leader, great defender. I think honestly Dawson and Mosquera complement each other quite well.
Big man still here.
Yeah.
Also wins 3-2. So I don't think
3-2. Wow.
That would stress me out too much.
That's a heart-wrenching game. That my God.
We need to win for sure. We need to win. Full stop. But 3-2. Difficult one. I've said a 1-1. I think we need to win. I think we need to go into the international break with a win. But Adrian, mate, you said you were going to bed for 30 minutes. Respect the big man. Have some Adrian respects in the chat.
Yeah.
Cult hero.
Yeah, exactly. Dawson came in and he was bang on. Ballon Dawson starting for sure. Forbes has not been confirmed yet. That's why we're waiting for another minute or so.
Come on.
It's going to happen as soon as I get into bed. It's gonna be there. So I think someone said earlier the Premier League were waiting on, was it 7 or 8 deals to be confirmed? So we'll wait and see. Everton are getting Brozier.
Yeah, I saw
Where'd you get your
it.
jumper from? This is Art of Football, an Art of Football jumper.
Yeah, that one is proper nice, you know.
I like the green hoodie as well.
I love that old
this one
badge.
as well, George, yeah. Have you
I got that one,
George?
and we got a haul, didn't we? From the friends at all. It was great.
Lovely. That's nice.
Yeah.
I love that old badge, to be honest. Oh,
yeah, the old badge looks sick on that.
Yeah, it's so nice. I'm looking forward to seeing that third shirt. It's the first purple shirt we've had since League One, I think.
Yeah,
they're in the League One days. Yeah.
James Henry comes to mind in that kit.
Yeah, not confirmed, unfortunately. So I think we'll have to wait. It's probably going to be the next 5 to 10 minutes. I met you back when we were in the Championship and we took a picture. Been a fan ever since. Thank you, Carl. I actually remember that. It was Fulham, I think. I think we drew 4-4 that game. That's the Fulham game, I think.
Oh, mate, that game was meant. Yeah, that was meant. Was Dave Edwards got?
Maybe. No. That's somebody else. I don't remember which game this was. That was the game you were talking about, Tom. But yeah, that was somebody else. Carl, I remember though. I do remember the selfie.
Waterhouse Purple, yeah.
Just leave the channel open.
Great memories.
Well, we'll just leave the stream on and do what? I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I'm going to bed as well.
I mean, you're not helping your accusations here, Adrian. I'll be honest, you are not helping accusations. But,
that's funny.
Let's round it up there, though, boys. George, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're back on the pod this weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
On Monday, sorry. Score prediction tomorrow before you go to bed.
2-1 Forest.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Wow. Tom, please. Thank you for jumping on. Please save me.
Wow. It's not a bad show.
What do you think? Score prediction, Tom?
Score prediction. Oh, sorry. 1-1 KG. It's just going to be one of those real scramble games where it's just end to end and both teams are just scrapping. 1-1. Yeah. Cunha scores.
We hope Tom can come on again. It's just the time difference.
Yeah, it's time difference, man. Time difference. I start work. I have to get up at work for 7, and it just doesn't quite match up, unfortunately.
And even when he does the fans react, I put the wrong name on these things. So I do apologize.
Oh gosh, that was funny. No, it happens, mate. It's fine. No stress at all, mate. No stress at all. You're busy.
Well, no, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you everyone for joining. I mean, we're down to 625 now. We had over 1,000 for pretty much 3/4 of the stream, so amazing. Unfortunately, we haven't announced Forbes yet. I'm sure it'll be coming in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But yeah, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, guys. We'll be back with the Forest stuff over the weekend, the podcast Monday or Tuesday, and an overview and review of the players that we've signed on Monday night, hopefully. So fingers crossed it's a win tomorrow, and enjoy your weekend, guys. I'll catch you soon.